What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 2TW Chapter 31 Side Effects of Copy Skills. Soon, Rist arrived at the side of the battlefield. When he saw three people fighting on the battlefield, Rist felt that his head was about to explode, as if a lot of things were forcibly squeezed into his mind, and the body. The main thing that Riester wants to get here is the swordsmanship of Golden Lion, the ability of Lion Fruit, the fruit of Sengoku Admiral, the ability of the form of the Buddha, and Garp's armament hockey. But at this moment, Rist got all these powerful abilities in an instant, but this made his body very uncomfortable, as if it was about to explode. How is this going? Rist's spirit was a bit trance, maybe it was because he learned too much at once, or it could be due to other reasons. But what is the reason for this? Riester can't think of it for the time being, but the first thing that can be ruled out is the swordsmanship of armament hockey in Golden Lion. Suddenly, Rist saw the shockwave used by Martial Sengoku, and the power of Lion Fruit used by Golden Lion. Plus there seemed to be some strange force colliding in his body. Rist instantly understood how this was. It's one thing. Is it because of Devil Fruit's ability? Except for this reason, Riester couldn't think of other reasons. The three energy in the body should be the energy of the Wood Fruit, the Lion Fruit and the fruit of everyone. Damn it, careless. Rist gritted his teeth and thought that his current body was really very uncomfortable. He overestimated himself and forgot the side effects of Devil Fruit. An average person can only consume one Devil Fruit in his life, and only those with a body different from ordinary people like Blackbeard can consume 2 Devil Fruit. Although Rist did not consume Devil Fruit, he possessed the power of 3 Devil Fruits. According to legend, every Devil Fruit hosts a demon, and the ability of the capable person is provided by the devil who hosts in the Devil Fruit. When 2 Devil Fruits merge into the body of the same person, the 2 demons there will be war, and in the end it will be the same. And Rist can be said to have copied the power of the devil in Devil Fruit. Although no demon was fighting in his body, the energy in his body also clashed. This is really bad news. There was still an illusion in Riester's mind before, that was to copy the power of all Devil Fruit, but now it seems that this kind of thing is impossible to complete. Advertisement finally. I don't know how much time has passed. In any case, in Riester's sight, the 3 attackers did not have a few moves, but Riester felt a particularly long time, as if a long time had passed. Just now, his whole body seemed to be bitten by insects and ants all the time. Although the power of the 3 Devil Fruits in the body has gradually calmed down, Rist can feel that they are only temporarily at ease. If there is an introduction, riots will definitely occur again. And the way to stop the riots is to tame them with your own power, and this power refers to physique and willpower, and the physique and willpower you want to fight can suppress all the power in your body. The battle between the 3 is getting fiercer and fierce. The Golden Lion has been beaten to the head under the joint hands of Garp and Sengoku. Of course, Garp and Sengoku also seem to be quite embarrassed. Although the strength of the 3 is not much different, even if it is 2 to 1, it is not so fast, so the battle can be ended easily. Garp's clothes are in tatters, and all of his body is covered with sword marks, and the golden light from Sengoku's golden body is also a bit dim. The form of the Buddha is very physical. At this time, the 3 of them were somewhat exhausted, both physically and mentally. Rist had been watching the battle for a while, but no one of the world's top existences had noticed him. Ha ha ha, it's a pleasure, but how did you marine trash catch Roger? Golden Lion gasped and said. When speaking in front of him, Golden Lion's face was still smiling, but after the next sentence, Golden Lion's face showed obvious anger. Hearing this sentence, Garp and Sengoku's faces were a little low, because they knew that Roger was not caught by them, but surrendered, but they were not able to announce the news of Roger's surrender, only to rest. Only then can they have the prestige and power of Marine. Roger can be a man who the old man doesn't recognize much, how can he be caught by your Marine's useless gang? Shiki, you can go to impel down to accompany Roger immediately. Sengoku's tone was very serious and full of anger. Although Garp standing next to him didn't say anything, he could tell from the look in his eyes that he would never let Golden Lion go. The old man wants to go, no one can stop me. Hearing this, Sengoku's face changed instantly. Indeed, as Golden Lion said, Lion Fruit's ability allows him to come and go freely almost anywhere. Golden Lion, do you want to escape? Advertisement? Garp's body also tightened. As long as Golden Lion moves away, Garp will move instantly to stop Golden Lion. Old man, this is not called fleeing, the old man is called strategic retreat. Golden Lion is not stupid. The reason why he came to Naval Headquarters single-handedly is because he was taken away by the news of Roger's arrest and wanted to avenge Roger. Before Golden Lion came, he didn't expect his luck to be so good. Except for Sengoku and Garp, the other Marine Masters were not there. However, after being hammered several times by Garp and shocked by Sengoku's shockwave, Golden Lion finally calmed down and his anger was completely vented. Shiki, I won't let you go. After speaking, Garp rushed directly. Give up, Garp, you can't catch me. Shiki also immediately rose to the flying height. Damn it. Although Garp can also use Moonwalk to catch up, it is obviously not as fast as Golden Lion. Miscalculated. Sengoku did not expect that Golden Lion would even plan to escape. But just when Sengoku and Garp thought there was no hope, a golden light suddenly flew over the Golden Lion's head. Sengoku's and Garp's faces were happy at the same time, and Riester's face, who was watching the battle, turned pale in an instant. This war didn't mean that Golden Lion was suppressed by Garp and Sengoku, but it was never said that Kizaru would join the war at the end. Kizaru, your uncle. This was Riester's last thought before he fell into a coma, because this newly added force directly detonated the other three forces in his body, and the originally calmed force rioted again because of this newly added force. Chapter 32 Golden Lion arrested. Have you been kicked by the speed of light? Such a sentence suddenly rang in Golden Lion's ear. It was obviously a very arrogant sentence, but he didn't know why, but he heard a little wretched feeling. Of course he also noticed the golden light above his head, but it was impossible to avoid it. No matter how fast he was, it was not as fast as Kizaru. You dead monkey. After saying this, Golden Lion was kicked by Kizaru in front of Garp and Sengoku. Suddenly he felt that he was enveloped by two shadows, and Golden Lion was flustered. The golden light quickly fell behind the Golden Lion, forming a person, and the three formed a triangle, surrounded by the Golden Lion. Now that Kizaru is there, the Golden Lion has been unable to escape. To say that the fastest person in the world is Kizaru. It's really tragic. Looking at the marine corpses everywhere, the naval headquarters, which was almost half destroyed, took away the frivolity on Bluzolino's face, and replaced it with a serious face. He didn't expect that Garp and Sengoku had shot at the same time, and they hadn't won the Golden Lion. If they hadn't come back, he would have almost let Golden Lion run away. Okay, Bluzolino, just stand by, and when dang Golden Lion is ready to escape, you will shoot again. Yes, Sengoku Admiral. This can be regarded as a kind of respect for Golden Lion, allowing him to be arrested in the hands of his peers without the participation of the younger generation. Since I can't escape now, let's fight to the death, Sengoku, Garp. Come on, Golden Lion, the old man will use these iron fists to treat you like a dead lion. Golden Lion, go to impel down and reflect on it. After that, the three of them took action together, and the aftermath of the battle surprised Kizaru's heart. He now thinks that his strength is no weaker than Admiral, but if he is allowed to face the three of them, he will definitely not be able to hold on. Trick. He mainly relies on his devil fruit ability. With this devil fruit, he can make himself face any battle, which is invincible. And Riester was lying on the ground at this time, with a painful expression on his face. The devil's energy was not controlled by the devil's consciousness, and it was completely out of control in Riester's body. Advertisement: the four energies are constantly impacting in Rist's body. At this moment, Bluzolino suddenly looked in the direction of Rist, and found that a golden light was exuding there at this time, bright and dark. What it is? Bluzolino came directly to Rist with a strong curiosity. Suddenly, he was stunned by what he saw before him. He was stunned by the burst of light, and then his body turned golden again, then his body turned into wood again, and he was lying on his back. The ruins he touched on the ground flew again. Isn't it? Rao is him. His heart is shocked at this moment. The spot of light radiating from Rist's body was really familiar to him. It was the scene when he was elementalized. The body turned golden yellow, and there was a tendency to become huge. The golden yellow part exuded a sacred breath, and then he glanced at Sengoku Admiral who was fighting. How do you see the golden yellow part? They all fell from Sengoku. As for the ruins suspended around Rist, Bluzolino glanced at the Golden Lion, which was able to overturn the ground. How do you think it was the ability of the Golden Lion? Although he doesn't know who owns the ability to turn the body into wood, it is obviously a devil fruit ability. What kind of monster is this? Looking at Riester, who was lying on the ground in the uniform of a marine student, Bluzolino really didn't know what to say. But now how to deal with this kind of matter of Lister is not for him to decide, but to be handed over to Sengoku Admiral to make a decision. If he is a monster, then this Lister is a super monster. Soon, the battle between Sengoku, Garp and Golden Lion was over. Golden Lion was lying on the ground feebly. Sengoku also retreated from the form of a big Buddha, sweating constantly on his forehead, and Garp was panting. This time it was Lousy who lost, but when we meet next time, Garp, Sengoku, I will definitely get this world in my pocket. You have no chance. You can spend the rest of your life in Impel Down in the future. Although there is no Seastone handcuffs to handcuff Golden Lion, they are not worried that Golden Lion will run away. The first point is because Golden Lion has not used the power of Devil Fruit, and the second point is because of them. There is also Bluzolino. It is impossible for Golden Lion to run away. Advertisement: Sengoku Admiral, Garp Vice Admiral, I found a funny kid. At this moment, Bluzolino suddenly said to the two of them. What makes you interesting? Although Bluzolino is a bit lazy, his strength and vision are beyond doubt. Things that can make him find interesting, maybe they can be interesting. Bluzolino just wanted to bring Riester to Kizaru and Garp, but just as he was about to contact Riester, an aura exploded directly from Riester's body, and Polusali was slightly inadvertent. Nuo was directly rushed out by this momentum. Directly hit a ruin not far away. Seeing this scene, Garp and Sengoku both widened their eyes, and even Golden Lion watched this scene with interest. I saw a figure flying directly into the air, eyes closed, as if his body was acting unconsciously. Isn't that Riester? Garp recognized the opponent instantly. He always thought that Riester was guarding the residential area, but he had already come to the battlefield. But what's the matter with this state? Sengoku asked solemnly. He now felt a little danger from Lister's body. Sengoku Admiral, Garp Vice Admiral, be careful, this kid seems to have 4 devil fruit abilities. What? Sengoku, Garp and Golden Lion were shocked at the same time when they heard Bluzolino's words. After all, their common sense is that everyone can only take one kind of devil fruit and 4 kinds of devil fruit. They are really unheard of and unseen. You're not kidding, Paluzolino. Sengoku asked solemnly. If it really did what Paluzolino said, it would be terrible, and the world might be subverted. Chapter 33. No, this is what I saw with my own eyes, if I didn't have hallucinations. Seeing Paluzolino's solemn face, Sengoku knew that he was not lying. At this moment, Riester extended an index finger to them, and a light spot formed on Riester's hand, and it became more and more dazzling. This is... Paluzolino's eyes widened immediately. He had already seen that a part of the opponent's body was elementalized, and it was exactly the same as the elementalization of his own sparkling fruit. Paluzolino, isn't that your move? At this moment, no matter how dull Garp's head was, it was able to react. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect you Marine to have such an interesting kid. The golden lion lying on the ground laughed and laughed. He originally thought that this war would end with his failure, but now it seems that there is another war waiting for them. Paluzolino then also performed the same moves as Riester. Laser. When Kizaru's life fell, the 2 lasers collided directly and exploded. The power used by the 2 people was almost the same. Is it possible that there are 2 sparkling fruit? Garp said incredulously. How is it possible, Garp? This is not the time to discuss this issue. Think about how to stop Riester. Then leave it to the old man. It just happens that the old man has a look at what kind of changes Riester's strength has undergone in the past 2 years. Be careful, Garp. I feel that Riester is in a little bit wrong now. Well, I understand, I can see it too. After that, Garp rushed directly towards Riester, and Riester seemed to sense the danger. The whole body emits a golden light, and the whole body has grown a few times to become a Buddha statue. Isn't that the old man's ability? Sengoku was completely surprised this time. If it has abilities similar to sparkling fruit, Sengoku can still understand. After all, devil fruit has more similar abilities, but isn't it his ability to become a Buddha? Although Rist's form of the Great Buddha is a bit smaller than Sengoku's form of the Great Buddha, it is indeed his devil fruit ability. Ha ha ha, Sengoku, I didn't expect your ability to be taken away by a junior. Advertisement. The golden lion lying on the ground laughed very happily. It was worth it for him to see such a scene. But at this moment, he noticed Paluzolino's pitying gaze on the side. Dead monkey. What do you mean by your gaze? For Paluzolino, Golden Lion now hates them more than Sengoku and Garp. After all, if it weren't for him, he might have left here long ago. Could it be that that kid also has it? You'll know after a while. Although Garp was a little stunned facing the big Buddha in front of him, the strength in his hand increased. And Rist, who had become a big Buddha, also stretched out his palm, sending out a shockwave. Garp's iron fist and Riester's shockwave swelled together, but it didn't take long before Riester was knocked out, and the Buddha form also retreated. Although it has also become the form of a big Buddha, is it not as powerful as mine? Sengoku also just glanced at it and analyzed Riester's situation. And Riester, who was shot down to the ground, directly used Lion Fruit's ability to control him to fly on the ground that was broken because of the battle just now. Isn't that the ability of the old man? How could the ability of the old man be in the hands of that kid? Golden Lion had just finished laughing at others, but he didn't expect it was his turn now. Good boy. Facing the oncoming huge ground, Garp grinned, and then the powerful armament hockey directly covered his fist. After accumulating his power, he directly attacked the ground, smashing it to pieces in an instant. Paluzolino, are you going to help too? Sengoku now sees that although Riester has a variety of devil fruit abilities, he can't exert a powerful force at all. Perhaps his physique limits him. Real. He can also see that Garp Vice Admiral can solve Riester by himself, but it just needs to waste a little bit of the world. Although he was complaining, his body also flew into the air, turning into a huge spot of light. Bachichanguyu. I saw countless dazzling light bullets flying out of him directly, attacking in the direction where Rist was. The huge dust directly enveloped everyone present. But when the dust dissipated, everyone found that Rist was standing there unscathed. Advertisement? Elemental. With such a wide range of attacks, Paluzolino was sure that there must be a few light bullets that had hit Rist's body, but now the opponent has no injuries at all, only elementalization is possible. It's really troublesome. Sengoku also had a headache seeing that Paluzolino's attack was useless. Sure enough, I have to rely on the old man. After speaking, Garp rushed towards Rist again. However, Rist stretched out his arm directly, the arm turned into a wood, and he stretched out quickly, instantly flying Garp out. What is this ability? Garp didn't pay attention and was hit directly. He didn't expect Riester to have other abilities besides Lion Fruit, Sparkling Fruit, and Everyone Fruit. He has now forgotten the abilities of the 4 devil fruits Paluzolino said before the battle. Afterwards, I saw Riester put his hand directly into the ground. Everyone felt something moving under the ground. It's coming out. I saw huge trees suddenly emerge from the ground. Garp and Kizaru, who were able to move, were a little better, but Sengoku, who had lost strength, and Golden Lion, who could not move, were a bit miserable now. The trees that were directly lifted up by the ground flew on top, and then were entangled by the branches. No, this tree can absorb the power of others. Sengoku instantly felt that his little stamina was being sucked away by this tree. And Golden Lion was even more miserable. He who had no stamina was sucked by vitality. Damn, it's kid. Golden Lion has the intention to break free, But he has more heart but lacks strength. He doesn't have the physical strength to break free of this bondage at all. Garp, make a quick decision, don't keep your hands. Garp also realized the seriousness of the matter. Sorry, Lister. Garp directly shaved and came to the top of Riester's head. Riester, who wanted to use the elements to escape, was directly hit by Garp with a punch. The elementalization was directly interrupted, and his body was directly embedded on the ground. Paluzolino, who saw this scene, involuntarily touched his head, always feeling that he was beaten up. Chapter 34. Rist fell down very gloriously this time, and did not get up again. Seeing Rist falling on the ground without moving, Sengoku and Golden Lion breathed a sigh of relief because the trees entwined with them finally stopped absorbing their strength and life are gone. Sengoku was also rescued by Paluzolino, only the Golden Lion was still entangled in the trees. He looked at Paluzolino with an angry gaze, hoping to save him, but Paluzolino turned a blind eye to Golden Lion's gaze. If Golden Lion still had the strength to curse, it might have been 18th generations of Paluzolino's ancestors. But Marshal Sengoku, how should we explain to him? Glancing at the chaotic venue, Paluzolino asked, just say that all this is done by Golden Lion. Upon hearing Sengoku's words, Golden Lion immediately turned his angry gaze to Sengoku. Sengoku, you old man, how can you slander people casually? Golden Lion suffocated and said this sentence. Although he did cause a lot of damage to the naval headquarters, the damage caused later has nothing to do with him. He is just a bystander, so how come the pot is all on his back? But Sengoku just gave him a cold look and didn't speak. Fortunately, there are no other Marines around here, except for a few of them. No one noticed the scene of Riester making kamui. What about these trees? No one of us can make so many trees, right? The trick Lister used just now can be said to directly create a small forest. I'll leave it to you, Paluzolino, I believe you can do it. It's really troublesome. It would be the best if Sakazuki was here, a great eruption. These trees would not leave a trace, but Sakazuki was absent, and could only allow Paluzolino to carry out a wide range of attacks. Bachichanguyu. Kizaru flew into the air again, and countless light bombs flew directly toward the careful forest. One light bomb fell on the ground, or the explosion on the trees was enough to destroy the traces of these trees. Smelly monkey, lousy is still here, advertisement. Golden Lion immediately yelled, the strength that was finally recovered, now all was wasted. Finally, Paluzolino's attack was over, all the trees on the ground had disappeared, and Golden Lion's injuries became more serious. But what about this kid? Paluzolino asked Riester, who had fallen to the ground. Hearing this, Garp and Sengoku's faces became solemn at the same time. They had already seen the peculiarity of Riester, the magic power of the 4 devil fruits, and each of them was a very powerful ability. Sengoku, if something happens to Rist, Zephyr will look for us desperately. Garp said with a serious face, he must be cautious about Lister's question. If Lister was just an ordinary Marine student, they wouldn't be so entangled and might kill each other directly. After all, Lister was too dangerous, if it could not be used by them in the future. But now, he is Zephyr's disciple, even if he is Zephyr's son. I know, just hide this matter in your heart. Don't tell anyone except Marshal Sora and Zephyr. Do you still want to tell Old Man Kong? Garp didn't want to tell Marshal Sora, because no one knew what decision Marshal Sora would make. Don't forget, Garp, we are a Marine. Marshal Sora has the right to know everything about Marine, and I believe that Marshal Sora will definitely make the most correct choice. Sengoku said with a serious face, he naturally knows what Garp is thinking. He is afraid that Marshal Kong will tell the world government about Riester. With the character of the world government group of people, even if Riester is extremely loyal to Marine, it is still an existence that must be erased, because he is too dangerous and his future is too terrible. Okay, you are Admiral, you have the final say, I am a little middleman who dare not talk back to you. Garp said weirdly. As for Paluzolino, he stood on the side, clasping his ears, looking as if it had nothing to do with it. Send someone to clean the battlefield, Garp, and Riester will take you to the infirmary. I see. Afterwards, Garp walked up to Lister and looked at Lister, who was lying on the ground. Even a careless person like him couldn't help but think about it. Advertisement, Rist. What secrets still exist in your body? When Garp saw Lister for the first time, he knew Lister was different. In front of him, he said that he admired him, but Garp had a clear sense of what he saw and heard. Although he could not hear the voice of others, he still knew whether others were telling lies. Afterwards, all the other Marine soldiers came. Seeing this messy battlefield, they were shocked. It was not like going through a big battle, but more like going through an earthquake. Sengoku Admiral. Looking at Sengoku sitting on the ruins with his upper body naked, the Marine soldier saluted. Lock the Golden Lion with Seastone's handcuffs, don't let him escape, and let Paluzolino Vice Admiral personally escort him to impel down. Yes, Sengoku Admiral. Paluzolino, who had just returned here, heard Sengoku's words, and couldn't help but feel a little helpless. Obviously, he was holding Vice Admiral's salary, but he was doing the task of Admiral. People like Golden Lion should be escorted by Admiral. Should I propose to the boss about processing funds? Paluzolino couldn't help but think that it was very hard to be stationed in New World recently. However, during this period of time, his reputation has indeed improved a lot. Now almost all pirates all over the world know that there are 3 monster-level Logia Vice Admiral in Marine. This really makes Marine's majesty among the people, improved some. It also made some pirates frightened. Soon, Marshal Sora returned. After all, Marijoy was not far from naval headquarters, but when he arrived, the battle was over. Seeing the messy naval headquarters, Kong looked gloomy. Sengoku, how many soldiers did Marine lose this time? Most of these are present, and some are in residential areas, but there should not be many. Well, it's okay. Golden Lion is too rampant. Let Zephyr come back from New World, lest things like this happen again. Yes, Marshal. Now that Kuzan and Sakazuki are in New World, as long as they don't provoke a character like Whitebeard, there shouldn't be any surprises. Chapter 35. After recuperating for a day, Sengoku came to the Marshal's office. At this time, Sora was working on the post-war documents about Golden Lion. This time, Golden Lion came to Naval Headquarters single-handedly, which had a huge impact on Marine's reputation. Fortunately, Golden Lion has now been locked into the city instead. Marshal Kong, I think there is one thing that needs to be reported to you. You say? Seeing Sengoku's serious expression, Sora also realized that this might not be a trivial matter. It's about Riester, Rist, that disciple of Zephyr? After thinking about it for a while, he finally remembered who Riester was. After all, he hadn't heard anything about Riester for nearly 2 years. Well, Riester currently masters 4 devil fruit abilities. What? Hearing Sengoku's words, Sora stood up from his chair in shock. Are you sure? I'm sure. I saw it with my own eyes, and Garp and Paluzolino were also there at the time. Please describe to me well. Yes. Afterwards, Sengoku told Kong what happened yesterday. After listening, Sora fell into a long silence. After listening to Sengoku's description, Sora's first reaction was to secretly solve Rist. But if Riester is solved secretly, Marine is likely to fall apart from the beginning of Zephyr. Now most of the school-level officers in Marine are part of Commodore and Rear Admiral, all of which are Zephyr's disciples. If they had a fight with Zephyr, it would definitely cause a discord within Marine, and even a bigger contradiction. And now it is also in a sensitive period when the one Pirate King Roger is about to be executed, and there is no longer any problem with Marine. Advertisement, Sengoku. What do you think? I think we only need to know this matter. Sengoku said with a serious face that he had thought about this matter for a long time last night. Then are you sure that Riester will not do things that endanger Marine or even the world government in the end? Sengoku's words have already indicated that he hopes Marine can protect Riester. After all, Riester will never survive if he let the world government know about him. I'm not sure, but I believe Zephyr, he will definitely help Riester establish the correct Marine consciousness. And now Rist is also Zephyr's weakness. If we touch him, we will inevitably create an endless situation with Zephyr. Zephyr. In Marshal Sora's mind, a boy with purple hair and firm eyes emerge. From an ordinary soldier to Marine Admiral, Zephyr has no doubts about Marine's justice. But after experiencing the incident with Zephyr's family, Zephyr is already a little disappointed with Marine. If anything happens to Riester this time, even if it is firm in justice, it will shatter. And we Marine also need such a person in the future, someone who can compete with the world government. Sengoku struggled for a long time, and finally said this sentence. Even when he heard this sentence, he was taken aback. He did not expect that Sengoku would say such a thing, and said it in front of him. He originally thought that in Marine, only Garp, who couldn't speak his mind, could say this kind of thing, but he didn't expect that Sengoku, known as the resourceful general, would also say this kind of thing. Sengoku, depending on your contribution to Marine, I assume that I haven't heard such words, and I won't be allowed to say such things in the future. Yes, Marshal Sora. Although the empty words were criticizing Sengoku, there was no deterrent in the tone. Since Riester is Zephyr's disciple, let Zephyr have all the power. We have no right to dispose of Zephyr's disciples. Yes, Marshal Sora. Hearing this sentence, Sengoku finally let go of his heart. As Marshal Marine, Sora has the right to deal with anyone, but by saying this, it has shown that he has completely regarded the matter about Riester as a whole. The secret is buried in my heart. Okay, there is nothing wrong, you can leave first. Advertisement, yes, Marshal Sora. After Sengoku left, Sora looked at the rebuilt naval headquarters outside the window, lost in thought. Marine really needs someone who can lead the change. Kong thought silently in his heart, no one knows the current situation of Marine, or the attitude of the world government towards Marine, better than him, the current Marine Marshal. The world government just treats Marine as an obedient watchdog, the kind that is on call. Kuzan, Sakazuki and Paluzolino are indeed very good, but they are not enough to lead Marine to make changes. Although Sengoku has that heart, it is not good either. Although he has his own careful thinking, he is very important to the world government. Absolutely loyal, just like himself. Although Sora now needs someone who is not so obedient, but who is loyal and powerful to Marine. So he chose to protect Riester because he saw hope in Riester. It is possible that after Riester grows up, he is no longer in Marine. He may already be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but Marine is where he started. He hopes that Marine will do better and be able to get out of the control of the world government. This is his ambition, but his age is now too old to support his ambition, and now Marine's strength is not enough for the world government. For the world government, Marine is optional, because they can create a new Marine at any time, so only when Marine has absolute power can it be completely independent. Zephyr, I hope you can guide Riester on the right path. Sneezes. Zephyr rushed back to naval headquarters by boat and suddenly sneezed. Who is talking about the old man? It won't be Riester's kid, but Sengoku tells me that after I go back, there is something to tell me about Riester. I hope it's not a bad thing. To be honest, when he learned that the Golden Lion attacked Naval Headquarters, the first thing that came to his mind was not what happened to Naval Headquarters, but what happened to Riester now. He can no longer be regarded as a qualified iron-blooded soldier, and has regained his concern and fetters. Rist was in a coma now, and he didn't know whether it was due to the conflict between Devil Fruit's energy in his body, or he was hit by Garp's punch. In order to prevent Riester from using Sparkling Fruit's ability to leave, Garp's punch can be said that although he did not use his full strength, he did not show mercy. Maybe the concussion had already been beaten out. Chapter 36. I don't know how long it took, and Riester finally woke up, and then saw Zephyr sitting next to him, but suddenly seemed to think of something, and instantly closed his eyes. He is now very aware of his physical condition. He originally thought that as long as his physique and will are strong enough, he can withstand more Devil Fruit abilities, but now he finds that his thinking is wrong, regardless of his physique in the future. No matter how strong it becomes, it may soon reach its limit, and it may also be able to accommodate the ability of a Devil Fruit. Suddenly he remembered the golden light before the coma. The only thing that can use that ability in Marine is the future Marine Admiral, Kizaru. Although Sparkling Fruit's abilities are good, neither of these two gave him time to react, so he copied his abilities directly. What do you think? The expression on his face is so distorted. At this moment, Zephyr, who had not spoken, suddenly spoke. Master, when did you come back? Hearing this voice, Rist remembered that Zephyr was still here. I'll be back the day after you fell unconscious. The next day I was in a coma. Master, how long have I been in a coma? It's almost 5 days. 5 days? It's so long. Rist was a little surprised. He knew that the 4 Devil Fruits were in his body and caused a lot of damage to his body, but he did not expect to let him comatose for 5 days. You must know that no matter what he used to be, he only needed just lie down for a day. But why don't you open your eyes? Seeing Rist with his eyes closed, Zephyr frowned and asked. I'm afraid of death. If you accidentally encounter a demon fruit power, he might really die. He only had one last chance left. In this last chance, Riester already had a goal. Before meeting that man, Riester would never open his eyes. And Rist needs to study his abilities carefully. He feels that his ability to replicate is definitely a way to shut it down. Otherwise, it's really too cheating. He doesn't want to be a blind man for a lifetime. Is it because of Devil Fruit's ability? Hearing Zephyr say this, Riester's heart was shocked. Master, do you know everything? Rist asked cautiously. It seems you don't remember what you did before you passed out. Did I do anything? Advertisement? Your Devil Fruit's abilities are gone, and the 4 Devil Fruit's abilities have all been revealed. Of course, Zephyr also learned this from Sengoku. He has not witnessed it with his own eyes. Although it sounds so incredible, it is indeed a fact that people have to believe. Is it all revealed? The expression on Riester's face was a bit helpless, and a bit resigned. The world government knew that he had 4 Devil Fruit abilities. He didn't know what his future would be like now. Aren't you going to explain to me? Why do you have the abilities of the 4 Devil Fruits? Zephyr said with a serious face. Actually, Master, I have eaten a Devil Fruit. After struggling for a long time, Riester said such a sentence, because Zephyr does not like demon fruit power, so Riester's arrogant remarks can better reflect the authenticity of the words. What Devil Fruit? Zephyr frowned. It should be a copy of the fruit. I can learn everything I see, no matter what it is, whether it is physical skills, swordsmanship or Devil Fruit's abilities. Hearing what Rist said, Zephyr's expression slowly changed from frowning brows to surprise. Even if he was wearing a watch mirror, he couldn't hide the surprised expression on his face. Doesn't that mean that you can replicate all Devil Fruit's abilities? Zephyr shuddered when he thought that all the powerful Devil Fruits were concentrated on one person, even though this person was his own disciple. It's not like that. Rist gave a wry smile. My body's ability to withstand has reached its limit, and the ability to withstand these 4 fruits is pretty good. If I replicate the ability of another Devil Fruit, I might really be finished. Huh, Zephyr let out a breath, as long as there are restrictions. But you have the abilities of these 5 Devil Fruits, and there is no one to come. Zephyr also counted Riester's fictional ability to replicate the fruit. Of course, Riester didn't tell Zephyr that he could still bear a Devil Fruit. After all, this was his most important secret, and Riester had to get the Devil Fruit. Then your Devil Fruit ability can't be temporarily turned off? If Riester's eyes could not be opened, Zephyr's heart would be very distressed. I don't know, I don't dare to try now. Advertisement. Rist smiled bitterly. Well, I don't know, you should take a good rest first. I'll go and take a look at those little boys. Master. What's wrong? Zephyr's movements paused. Marine, no, what will the world government do with me? Hearing this, Zephyr was silent for a while. Sora had already talked to him, and he naturally knew Sora's thoughts. Don't worry, the world government guys won't know about this. After speaking, Zephyr left without looking back. When Riester heard this answer, he stunned for a moment, and then lay down with satisfaction. Marine wasn't that ruthless, too. After Zephyr left, about Riester's abilities also reached Sora, Sengoku and Garp's ears. Even the Crane Vice Admiral who had the best relationship with them, they didn't tell. Copy the fruit, do you believe it? After listening to Zephyr's report, Sora spoke to them. I don't know, but apart from this, I can't seem to think of other reasons. Sengoku shook his head. I think it's very possible. After all, Riester can learn at a glance no matter what he sees. No matter how talented he is, he can't do it. So it's really possible to replicate the fruit, one that has never appeared before. Fruit. Zephyr also helped Lister said. I don't know, but I feel that Riester is right about one thing. The ability of his body may really have reached its limit. Garp said this sentence, and he also used his brain to think, showing a serious expression. Why? Asked Empty Space. Because Riester's abilities have gone violently at that time, it means that he can't have as many abilities as the master. If you add another Devil Fruit's ability, you may really face his death, as Lister said. Sengoku also nodded, agreeing with Garp's point of view. Chapter 37 Escort Roger. In the end, the matter of Lister was hailed as Marine's top secret, and there was no paper information. All the things about Lister existed in the minds of several people present. After about 3 days, List finally came out of the Marine hospital. At this time, the power in his body made him want to find a place to vent, but he resisted it. If the naval headquarters is noisy, Rist will be spotted. After Zephyr came back at the time, he also told Lister that if he didn't have absolute strength, he wouldn't use Devil Fruit's ability if he could not use it. Rist naturally understood the seriousness of this matter. After all, was his own fate matter? And just in case, Rist deliberately covered his eyes with a long black cloth to prevent him from seeing things that he shouldn't see. Rist, who was blindfolded, really exuded a mysterious aura and looked a little handsome. Fortunately, Lister's observation hockey is already very strong, otherwise he really wouldn't dare to do it. When Lister returned to Marine Academy, everyone saw Lister's appearance, and they all asked him questions, but Lister sent him back on the grounds that it was for cultivation. Rist, you put these things on. After returning home, Zephyr said to Lister, using observation hockey you can sense that this should be a heavy load. Master, is this? Your strength is too strong, so you have to restrict these things. Originally, I planned to wait for you to be bigger and let you wear the load, but your current growth has exceeded my expectations too much, great swordsman. I have learned armament hockey for the level of slashing, and I have nothing to teach you. What I can do for you now is to enhance your physical fitness as much as possible. When he said this, Zephyr's tone was a little melancholy. A disciple who was too good was not a good thing for Master, he was completely hollowed out now. Also, at home, you can remove the cloth from your eyes. There are no capable people here. No, Master, I still wear this one. I have to get used to it as soon as possible. To be honest, although Riester's observation hockey is already very strong, it is still very uncomfortable to watch the outside time without eyes. Advertisement, it's up to you. If the child has his own ideas, he should be happy. Master, 1 month later, I want to go to Logue Town to see the public execution of One Piece Roger. Okay, I will tell Sengoku about this. Zephyr did not ask Lister why, and the 1 month Logue Town must be a mixture of dragonfish. Let Lister follow the long experience and stop, and he did not believe that someone would dare to make trouble in Logue Town after a month. Now the old part of the Roger pirates has been stared at by their marines. Those who can pose some threats to Marine have also sent people to keep an eye on them. And even if someone really makes trouble in Logue Town a month later, Zephyr will not worry about the safety of Lister. After all, there is a sparkling fruit, it is difficult to think of danger, and there are 2 people, Sengoku and Garp, who are enough to suppress everything. Turmoil. 1 month passed quickly. In this month, Riester had been adapting to the discomfort brought by the weight, and was also digesting the abilities that he had copied. Zephyr said that there have been problems in his current battle, and when he comes back this time, Zephyr will personally practice Riester, and really start teaching hands-on. At this time, Lister is taking Roger to the warship that escorted Roger to Logue Town. This can be said to be the most powerful ship that Lister has seen in Marine, a Marine Admiral Sengoku, a Marine hero Garp, and several elite naval headquarters, Vice Admiral. And since Garp took Roger out of Impel Down, he almost never came out under the jail, and has been with Roger. About to lose a close friend, this feeling is also very uncomfortable for Garp. No one knows what the 2 people are talking about. In short, Garp's order is not to allow anyone to come near them. There was only one exception, and that was Lister. When Lister walked into the dungeon, he found that Garp and Roger were sitting opposite each other and said nothing. The expression on one's face was a smile, and the other's on the face. The expression is sad. When Riester walked in, the sound of footsteps was particularly harsh in the quiet dungeon. Both turned their heads and looked in the direction where the footsteps were coming from, and their faces showed surprise expressions at the same time. Rist, what are you doing here? Advertisement, Garp asked. Although Rist had come in without Garp's permission, he would be scolded at best. I just want to see One Piece for the last time before he is dying. Lister's calm voice rang. In his perception of observation hockey, even though Roger's appearance may be a little embarrassed, and his breath is somewhat weak, his body exudes a strange power, just like the sun, with so much warmth. Ha ha ha, do you see me for the last time? I didn't expect to meet again, kid. Roger naturally recognized Lister. Although more than 2 years have passed, Lister left a deep impression on him, so he always remembered Lister. Yeah, I met again, but I didn't expect that when I met again, I would be in this situation, One Piece. The expression on Roger's face stiffened a little when Riester said this. Your little devil's mouth is really poisonous. Roger heard it out. The words Lister said were actually mocking him. But what's the matter with your eyes? Roger noticed Lister's black cloth eyes and asked curiously. Because there is a terrible energy sealed in my eyes. If I take off the blindfold, the world will be destroyed by this force. Ha 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 ha, you kid is really interesting to bully me, a dying man. If you were born a few years earlier, I must make you my crew member. Roger admired Riester more and more. If at first Roger was impressed by Riester's talent, then this time he was impressed by Riester's character. Ordinary people couldn't keep calm in front of him, and Chapter 38 the beginning of the Great Pirate Age. Roger, don't be wishful thinking, he is the future of our Marine. Marine's future? Ha ha ha, I didn't expect your Marine to bet the future on a kid. Roger didn't expect that Rist would have such a heavy weight in Marine now. Aren't you betting your future on the younger generation? Although Garp doesn't know what Roger is going to do now, he knows that Roger is definitely not the kind of person who is waiting to die. He definitely has a backhand, maybe a terrible backhand. He didn't know what Roger saw in Raftel, or what he knew, but it was definitely something that could make Roger lose his life. Otherwise, even if Roger had a terminal illness and died soon, he would not choose to reappear in front of the public in this way. By the way, I'm here to tell you that Logue Town is coming soon, and Sengoku Admiral asks Garp Vice Admiral to escort Roger to it yourself. Well, I got it. After that, Riester left first, and soon after, Garp also escorted Roger up. Although Roger was wearing handcuffs and ankles at this time, all Marines were in a serious and nervous state when they met Roger. On this ship, it can be said that they are the elites of all levels in Marine. But when they saw Roger, they still unavoidably felt a huge pressure. It was clear that Roger had not released any aura himself, but it was the name of the person in the shadow of the tree. Even if Roger did nothing, some people met Roger. At times, there will still be panic. This is the so-called psychological pressure on yourself. It's really been a long time since I came back, my hometown. At this time, the expression on Roger's face didn't feel like he was about to die, but a smile on his face, like the joy of going home. It's really lively, Logue Town. Because of the blindness, the observation hockey in List was always on, and I immediately felt a few powerful auras in Logue Town. Almost all the people who have names and surnames now come. And some people who were observing in the dark naturally noticed that the warship was driving towards them, and naturally felt several huge breaths on the warship. Advertisement: when Roger arrives in Logue Town, he will be directly taken to the execution platform and executed. There is almost no room to stay for a minute and a second, because one more point of stay will result in an additional point of change. Although Logue Town was already busy and overcrowded at this time, when the warship arrived at the port, all the people underneath were very consciously giving way to the execution platform. Ordinary soldiers got off the ship first, stood on both sides of the road, always guarding the people around them. As long as they saw some strange behavior, they have the right to shoot immediately. After that, it was Roger who disembarked. On the left and right sides behind Roger were Sengoku and Garp. As for Riester, he stood on the warship and did not go down, because no matter where he is, he can feel the punishment clearly. Anyway, can't open your eyes. Now, in the place of Logue Town, demon fruit power can be said to be a lot. In case someone accidentally releases his power and let Riester see it, it will suffer a lot from there. The execution was live broadcast. Marine wanted everyone to see the strength of Marine and enhance Marine's prestige, which was exactly what Roger needed. When Roger appeared, all the people in Logue Town and all over the world were quiet, holding their breath, and watching Roger step on the execution platform step by step. Except for the two executioners, Sengoku was the only one on the execution platform, and Garp was secretly protecting the execution platform. After all, Roger is Garp's best friend. If Garp is allowed to witness the death of his best friend, it will be for him. It is too cruel. In the square below the execution platform, many people saw Roger for the first time. There are the world's #1 swordsman in the future, Hawkeye Mahawk, and the other three in the future: Shichibukai, Sir Crocodile, Gecko Moria, and the clown Doflamingo. Is this the aura of One Piece? When these four people saw Roger, they were immediately stunned by the aura emanating from Roger. Although it looked very embarrassed, it didn't give people the feeling of a prisoner or a dying person. Instead, he looked around curiously and looked at the people around him. It's like a person returning home, looking at the changes that have taken place in his hometown over the past few years. Although their hearts are all unruly and rebellious people, in front of One Piece, any of their own aura seems to have been suppressed. Roger, Rayleigh on an island, holding a bottle of wine in his hand, looked at Roger on the screen. Tears involuntarily flowed from his eyes. Advertisement: Roger wanted to surrender himself. He was one of the few people who knew the truth. He had prevented it, but failed. No one can shake Roger's will and thoughts, even his deputy captain. Roger, you will open up a new era, but will this era develop as you expected? When Roger was sitting on the execution platform, an aura burst out directly from Roger's body. This aura was not Conqueror's Haki, but there was a feeling of surrender, which can be said to be a weakened version of Conqueror's Haki. Does it have the feeling of Conqueror's Haki just by being ordinary? It really deserves to be the One Piece? Doflamingo thought with excitement in his heart that if the conditions on the scene didn't allow him, he really wanted to laugh out loud, because he was such a crazy person. As the owner of Conqueror's Haki, he can clearly perceive what is contained in this aura. Sengoku counted the time, and the execution was about to begin. And Rist's observation Haki has been scanning the crowd to see who is asking the question that can make the world unrest. One Piece, where did you put all the treasures? At this moment, someone in the crowd suddenly yelled, and suddenly everyone was stunned. The crowd was stunned, and Marine was stunned. Only Roger was smiling all the time. Do you want my treasure? You can give it all if you want. Go and find it. I will put all the treasure there. When Roger finished saying this, Sengoku's face suddenly became ugly. Execution. 2 long knives directly pierced Roger's body, and in the next second, the sky was also raining heavily. Facing Roger's death, some people cried bitterly, some covered their faces and runny, some were excited and laughed, and some were expressionless. A new era has begun. People all over the world became crazy because of Roger's words. The next era is called the era of the great pirates. Chapter 39. Taking over the elite class is for the person who asked the question. He suddenly disappeared in the lock of observation hockey in Riester, as if he didn't exist, or he changed his own breath and could hide from observation hockey's perception. Sure enough, is that person the pawn you arranged for Roger? In the previous life, some people speculated whether or not that person was Roger's, but now it seems that it is indeed the person arranged by Roger, and even the second hand is ready. Roger of damn it. Sengoku's face became very ugly when he saw the people on the square ran into the sea like crazy. This is just an island, and there is such a situation, and this time Roger's execution was broadcast live all over the world. The current Logue town is just a microcosm of the world. All the islands that watched the live broadcast, all the young people flocked it, rushed to the sea. Roger, is this what you want to see? Garp's face was also very ugly. He didn't expect Roger to play such a hand with them, and Marine was completely put on by Roger. Although Garp is a bit nervous, he can also foresee that the world will go more violently than before. Now that Roger died, the position of One Piece had been vacant, and some people with ambitions were eyeing this position again. Fortunately, before that, they caught Golden Lion. Otherwise, when Roger died, Golden Lion would definitely become the most arrogant one. That fellow Roger, don't let us live in peace. And in the holy places of the world, Marijoy and 5 elders looked gloomy after watching this live broadcast. But that's okay. Roger at least didn't tell the secret. Now when he dies, no one will know about Raftel. Said 5 elders with long straight white hair and a long beard. What about the remnants of the Roger pirates? Do you need to wipe them all out? A 5 elders dressed in a white robe and glasses said, judging from the knife in his hand, it should be a cruel character. No, there is no Roger in the Roger pirates. They can't get over any big waves. As long as someone like Roger appears again on the embankment, it will be fine. I agree. Advertisement 5 elders have all expressed their opinions. After the execution of Roger, Riester followed Sengoku back to naval headquarters. As for Garp, he stayed in East Blue and said he wanted to go back to his hometown to take a look. After Riester returned to naval headquarters, those marine elites who had been sent out to monitor the powerful pirates had returned to naval headquarters at this time. Those pirates who have become the weather, Marine has no way to deal with them now. Even if Marine is determined to take them, it will have to pay a huge price. So what they have to do now is to kill those who have the idea of becoming pirates in the cradle before they grow up. Let them know what kind of marine the pirate will face. Although it is difficult to become a big pirate, it is almost 1 in 10,000 possibility, but it is only 1 in 10,000 possibility, and they have to kill the other party. When Riester arrived at Marine Academy again, all the elite students had already graduated. After all, they barely managed to master 2 of the 6 types, and they have surpassed most of the Marines. Enough to become an adjutant at a certain general level. 20 new elites have also been selected. Among these 20, there is a voice that Riester is more familiar with. It is the one who once blocked him in the small alley and wanted to clean him up. Brally, the wooden fruit of Rist was obtained from him. When Brally saw Riester, he was also very excited. After all, he already recognized Riester as his eldest brother. In a place where this is all the elite, he believed that his eldest brother could also give him a look after. Although he also saw Rist wearing a blindfold, he didn't care too much. He just thought it was so handsome, so he wanted to wear one too. Rist, all these elite students will be handed over to you. At this moment, Zephyr suddenly walked to Rist's side and said to him. What? Master, are you kidding me? Rist said in surprise. He didn't expect Zephyr to give him such a difficult and important task. I do not have. Zephyr said seriously. Now that you have seen the situation at sea today, our Marine's elite forces are completely insufficient. Although the chaos of the sea has only just begun, there are many more powerful people or some weird demon fruit power. Advertisement. So you are responsible for these 20 people, and I will select 20 people again to form an elite class. In other words, has Marine Academy now have 2 elite classes? Well, mine is elite class A, and yours is elite class B. In this case, I am willing to take this task, Rist said with a serious look in his eyes. Although Riester had taught these students some combat skills and techniques before, he had never really been responsible for a group of people. This immediately made Riester feel a heavy pressure on his body. Although his strength is now enough to go to the battlefield, but I don't know why, Marine's senior management has not allowed him to go to sea. Even if he goes to sea with Admiral or a certain Vice Admiral, it is like imprisoning him in naval headquarters. But this is nothing for Riester. He also feels that he is not the time to be exposed. His own plan is to wait for his strength to reach the level of Admiral, and Yiming will be amazing. He is now 9 years old, and Rist is confident that it will take 10 years, even 5 years to reach the level of Admiral. Well, good boy, I didn't see you wrong as expected. Zephyr patted Rist on the shoulder and smiled in relief. Now, let's get acquainted with these guys first. I'm going to select other students. Yes. Riester could sense it all at once. These 20 people should be the best 20 in the ordinary class. Zephyr gave him these 20 years with confidence, enough to show how much Zephyr trusts him. Oh, by the way, to remind you, every month, our 2 classes will have a competition. If we fail, there will be severe punishment. Don't worry, Master, I will definitely make them the most powerful Marine. Ha ha ha, the old man once had such a dream to make all the students the strongest Marine, but this goal has a long way to go. Afterwards, Zephyr left Rist with a cool bag and left. No matter how messy it is outside, no matter how busy Marine is, Marine Academy will remain the same as before. Chapter 40, From today I will be responsible for your general instructor. Introduce myself, my name is Riester. Some of you know me and some do not know me, but this is not important. After today, you will all know me, and I will leave a deep impression in your lives. Riester stood in front of them and said loudly and powerfully. Why are you such a kid training us? Suddenly, one of the students was unhappy. They came to the elite class to get the teachings of Zephyr Admiral, not such a kid. Yes, if you are responsible for teaching us, isn't our elite class coming for nothing? Another student said. However, there were still a few students who did not speak. Their eyes were full of admiration when they looked at Riester. These should be people who had been taught by Riester in ordinary classes. Very well, is there anyone who refuses to accept me? Of course Rist knew that he had no deterrence at his current age and size. These elite classes are all newly elected, and they are generally not very old, around 15 or 16 years old. This age belongs to the time when I don't know anything and don't care about anything, but my heart is full of passion. So it is very simple to get their approval, that is to be stronger than them. After Riester finished speaking, a large number of people came forward. There are now 15 people in the elite class of 20 people who disagree with him. There are fewer people than I expected. I thought all of you would disobey me. Rist saw the 5 people standing still unmoved and spoke. Hey, brother, I take you especially. Brally said with a smile. He not only paid for Riester's strength, but also convinced Riester's status. We also serve you, instructor. The other 4 people also talked about it. The 15 people who directly stood up were a little inexplicable. Advertisement Bulalai and the others knew that Demon Fruit Power was one of the best among the students, but they didn't expect that Bulalai would actually recognize it in front of this kid. Well, if that's the case, let the 15 of you come together and let you know why I became your instructor. Boy, are you too mad? At this time, a big guy stood up and said that they were outstanding in the ordinary class, and it was an insult to them to let them besiege a child. 15 of us shot you together, you don't even know how to die. Very well, I like your courage, come on, as long as you can make me take a step back, even if you win, I will again let Zephyr Admiral serve as your instructor, but on the contrary, you must listen to me obediently. Damn it, you don't have to shoot, I can do it all by myself. It was the big guy who was talking again. Rhodes is going to be unlucky. Brally shook his head helplessly when he heard the decision made by the big guy. Although he didn't know how much Riester had improved in the past 2 years, he could crush him 2 years ago. 2 years later, only it will become stronger. And Rhodes couldn't even beat him, so he dared to challenge Riester. This kind of behavior was looking for abuse in Blair's eyes. I saw that Rhodes rushed over quickly, raised his fist, intending to directly hit Rist's face. The power carried by Fist Mountain was intended to end the battle with one blow. Good job, Rhodes. Seeing Rhodes's movements, the others couldn't help but cheered to Rhodes. They still know the power of Rhodes's punch. They can smash a wall directly. This also has something to do with his huge physique. It is said that Rhodes' blood is somewhat special, as if it has a trace of giant blood. However, this also caused his speed to be relatively slow, and the opponent would not be there waiting for him to beat him up. And in the next second in the battle, those cheering voices stopped abruptly. I saw that the forceless punch was blocked by Rist with a finger, and he couldn't move forward a bit. Is your strength the only thing like this? What? A cold sweat broke out on Rhodes' forehead. How is it possible? How can I be blocked by the opponent with a finger with my full punch? Advertisement Rhodes's heart was full of disbelief. He even felt that everything in front of him was not real, as if God was making a joke with him. Afterwards, Riester changed his hand gesture directly and grabbed Rhodes's wrist directly. When he lifted up, Rhodes's whole body was emptied. In the next second, Riester threw forward. Rhodes's huge body flew out directly. It seemed to Rist that the weight of Rhodes's body didn't seem to be a big deal. Suddenly, he fell into silence, and there was no sound. This should be the so-called killing of chickens and monkeys. Rhodes is the chicken, and the others are monkeys. Big Brother's strength is strong again. Brally secretly thought in his heart that he must have a further relationship with Rist, even if he would give his body for it. Fortunately, Rist didn't know what Brally was thinking, otherwise, the monkey would not be Rhodes, but him. Zephyr, who had just said to leave, was holding his shoulders with his hands, leaning against the other side of the wall. He knew that these students would definitely not stop as soon as he left, so he wanted to see what Riester would do to solve this problem. But he didn't expect that Riester's solution would be so simple and rude. He originally thought that Riester would convince people with reason, but he didn't expect to convince people with martial arts. Sure enough, he is the old man's disciple. If Riester really reasoned with them, Zephyr might be disappointed in his heart. Come on, let's go together with you few. With your strength, the wheel warfare will have no effect on me. Hearing these words from Riester, The other people all looked at each other a few times, and they were a little embarrassed. Some of them are similar in strength to Rhodes, and some are even weaker than Rhodes, but now Rhodes has been beaten to the ground and it is useless for them to go up. I said, as long as you can make me take a step back, even if you win, is it possible that all of you who are selected into the elite class are all cowards? The 3 words, coward, instantly aroused the anger of these people, and even if they took a step back, they saw hope. We are not cowards. Then, a person rushed towards Riester, and with this person's lead, the others followed him. When Rist saw this scene, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This group of people is still bloody. Chapter 41 Zephyr's re-invitation. All the students who rushed up directly gave Riester a punch and a kick. No one persisted in his hand. At this time, they were all lying on the ground and wailing, but the only one was still standing. The 5 of them also showed sympathy on their faces. Who still doesn't accept it now? Served, we took it, instructor. Their title has changed from a little devil to an instructor, which shows that they have recognized Riester. Ah, very good. It was supposed to let you rest for a day before training, but now you should also know the situation on the sea. There is not much time left for Marine, so the training starts now. Now, everyone runs around the playground for 50 times. Circle, time, half an hour. A lap is about 400 meters, half an hour is already very abundant for these elite students. Yes, instructor. Even if they were punched and kicked, it was indeed as Rist said, that there was not much time left for them, otherwise Zephyr Admiral would not be able to form 2 elite classes. The training positions of the 2 elite classes are not in the same place, so Rist does not know what the student selected by Master is, but the most elite group in the ordinary class is here. If they fail in the competition a month later, if so, there is really no qualification to be the instructor of these people. Soon, the 50 laps were over. Although some people were exhausted, they were dressed coarsely, bent over and supported their knees to support their bodies, and some lay down directly and looked at the sky. My head is a little dizzy. Very well, everything was completed within the stipulated time. Rist applauded them and nodded in satisfaction. 10 minutes of rest, 10 minutes later, call you one of the 6 principles of finger pistol. Hearing this, the students who were already exhausted instantly became full of energy, just like chicken blood. Report to instructor, we have rested. The student who was most exhausted and lying on the ground was the first to speak. What is their purpose in coming to the elite class is to become stronger, and learning Marine 6 styles is one of their goals. Yeah, instructor, we can learn now. The rest of the students also stood straight in front of Rist. Although their bodies were soaked and sweaty, their eyes were very firm. Seeing this scene, Rist's heart was very pleased. Advertisement. Although there are indeed many assholes in Marine, at least the 20 people in front of him are all simple people who Ishan wants to punish and punish evil. They have not been contaminated by the world. Their current idea is very simple, become stronger, catch pirates, and protect ordinary people. Very well, if that's the case, then I will teach you the principles of finger pistol first. I think some of you already know about Marine 6 styles, and finger pistol is the simplest of the 6 styles I think. The power of the whole body is concentrated on the index finger, and the power of the fingertip can easily penetrate the human body with a blow released between the hardened fingers of the electric light flint, so it is called finger pistol. Afterwards, Riester gave a demonstration directly in front of everyone. All of a sudden, everyone saw a surge of energy in the air, when Riester used finger pistol. Everyone was a little dumbfounded. This was the first time they saw finger pistol. Some people even thought that if Riester taught them with finger pistol just now, they would still be able to afford it. However, finger pistol also has a drawback, that is, the attack range is short. However, there has been a solution to this shortcoming, which is finger pistol's extended move, which is to fly finger pistol. Riester used finger pistol again in front of everyone, but this time everyone clearly saw that an air bomb flew out of Riester's fingertips, and a finger appeared directly on the far wall. A light hole of smooth size. At this moment, everyone lost their voices, and I didn't expect finger pistol to have such a powerful application. Of course, this is something you can't get rid of temporarily. What you need to do now is to learn finger pistol. Yes, instructor. The voices of all the students were very passionate. When they think that they are about to learn such a powerful move, their hearts are thrilled. Okay, prepare for 2 finger push-ups. Only use your index fingers to do it. Ability people cannot use devil fruit's abilities. The last sentence, Riester naturally said to Brally. Yes, instructor. Hearing that Riester cared about him so much, Brally felt that he was the right person. But Rist didn't think so much, he just didn't want Brally to steal and skid, and using devil fruit would not serve the purpose of exercise. Advertisement. Soon, 1 day passed. Although it was only 1 day, Riester was recognized and admired by everyone. When night fell, everyone returned to the dormitory, but just when Riester wanted to go back, Zephyr came here and found Riester. Master, I was about to go back, I didn't expect you to come. Our father hasn't tried a match for a long time, right? Yes, Master, it's been more than 2 years. Riester still remembers that the last time he competed with Zephyr, he was defeated almost instantaneously. Although he insisted on 2 moves, they were the result of Zephyr's mercy. Your strength has grown rapidly in the past 2 years, and now even I don't know how far your strength has reached. So does Master want to compete with me? Well, I'll guide you by the way. Although Riester's combat skills should no longer be inferior to Zephyr, or even stronger than Zephyr, Riester's combat experience is far incomparable. Good. Riester's eyes lit up, and he agreed instantly. Although he was unable to use any Devil Fruit's abilities in the battle, he had learned the swordsmanship of Armament Haki and Golden Lion. However, Armament Haki is still very weak. After all, the strength of Armament Haki is directly related to physical fitness, use skills, and the amount of storage. Even if he and Zephyr's Armament Haki are at the same level of skill and intensity, but his physical fitness is not as good as Zephyr, every collision will definitely fall into the wind. But even if Armament Haki can't, he still has swordsmanship at the level of a great swordsman. Since watching the Battle of Golden Lion, he has learned Golden Lion's moves, and his understanding of Kendo has grown by leaps and bounds. I have to say that his abilities are indeed somewhat perverted. When Golden Lion uses sword moves, Rist also fully accepts Golden Lion's perception of Kendo. But from Garp's body, Riester only copied Armament Haki, which shows that Garp's battles rely entirely on Armament Haki's battles, relying on brute force battles, without any artistic conception and skills at all. Chapter 42. You are yourself. It's also very important to fight first to be strong, and then to suffer. Fighting with Zephyr's level of power is also very important. Shave. Rist's figure came directly in front of Zephyr, the fist mountain artistic conception covered Armament Haki. Haki, if that's the case, I can't hide it anymore. Seeing Zephyr also punched in an instant, the two fists covering Armament Haki collided, and the resulting air wave directly set off a burst of dust around, but before a stalemate, Riester was knocked out. Reluctantly stabilized his figure in the air, and landed safely. So strong. Rist was a little frightened, but he had already known that this would be the result. His current Haki's strength is about the same as Garp's, but he has very little difference in quantity, and his physique is much worse than Zephyr, so it's normal to get knocked into the air. Did you copy Garp's Haki? At the moment of the fight, Zephyr sensed it. There are only a handful of people in this world who are stronger than his Haki, and the Haki just now is stronger than his master's Haki. Golden Lion's Haki is not as good as him. Sengoku's Haki is not him, only Garp's Haki is better than him. Even the posture is exactly the same as Garp's fighting posture. If your physical fitness is up to Garp's, the outcome of this battle is really unpredictable. Although Zephyr didn't want to admit it, his strength was indeed worse than Garp. The strength of Golden Lion relies on swordsmanship and lion fruit, and the strength of Sengoku relies on the fruit of the Big Buddha, not purely on Haki. Master, it is really difficult to defeat you, but I will not give up. After that, Riester drew out the saber from his waist. It was just an ordinary marine saber, not a famous sword. After all, he hadn't encountered a famous sword. Very well, come on, Riester, try to beat me. Slash wave. Rist directly cleaved a sword aura. The sharpness of the sword aura and the power of the sword aura were exactly the same as those used by Golden Lion. This sword aura. Advertisement. Seeing this oncoming sword aura, Zephyr's expression became serious. Just like Garp and Roger are old enemies, Sengoku and Whitebeard are old enemies, he and Golden Lion are also old enemies, and the two have fought the most times. So for this sword energy, he can be said to be the most familiar except Golden Lion thought. I saw that Zephyr's right hand was covered with the mighty Armament Haki, and with a direct punch, the sword energy was shattered in an instant. But in the next second, Rist had already rushed towards Zephyr at an extremely fast speed, because he knew that that move would not have much effect on Zephyr at all. When Riester's sword touched Zephyr's fist, there was a crashing sound like steel. Golden Lion's swordsmanship. You really learned the essence of Shiki's swordsmanship. But what is your own way of fighting? Quote. What? Hearing this question from Zephyr, Rist was stunned. But it was just a moment of stunner, and gave Zephyr a chance to force his fist again, although this time he didn't knock Rist into the air, he also slid back more than 10 meters. Luxon's sword, Thorn. I saw that Rist had already set up the next position, with a speed like a bolt of lightning, pointing straight to Zephyr's vitals. In the battle between the two of them, Zephyr could keep his hand, but he could not keep his hand. That move of Adjutant Garp. This kind of fast attack is the last thing Zephyr wants to deal with, because what he is good at is not speed, so in the face of this trick, Zephyr can only protect his body and wrap his whole body with the 5-color Haki. Is it only the power of Janao? It is exactly the same as I thought. Through physical pain, Zephyr knew that the power of Riester's use of this trick was only at the level of a swordsman. Did not show the sword intent of the Golden Lion great swordsman at all. Afterwards, Zephyr's body suddenly burst into an aura, once again forcing Riester to fly out. Is your strength the only way, Riester? Could it be that all you know are the moves of others? Quote. Zephyr yelled, then swung his iron fist and rushed towards Riester. Upon seeing this, Riester hurriedly placed the sword in front of him and wrapped it around Armament Haki. The powerful force immediately knocked Riester away. Advertisement. It directly knocked over several walls. Fortunately, the Marine Academy was built in a sparsely populated place. Otherwise, they would really disturb the people if they were still there. I'll go, this little hand is too cruel. Even with the sword used for defense, the powerful impact made Rist feel that his body seemed to be scattered. I said, there is a problem with your fighting style. If you have any questions, wait until the battle is over, master. Rist was also a little angry. He didn't expect that he, who inherited the Golden Lion swordsmanship, would be beaten by Zephyr. Lion, Thousand Slice Valley. Although it's just a sword, it can't use the full strength of this sword move, but its power is several times that of Slash Wave. Rist, your fighting style doesn't have your own style at all, just blindly imitating, blindly copying. It is absolutely impossible to become the strongest. Facing the oncoming sword auras, Zephyr didn't even hide, and smashed a sword aura with one punch. But in the end, Zephyr's hands were also bloody. The sword hero's slash was not so easy to take. Rist, if you can't break through, you will never surpass them and become the strongest. Zephyr arrived directly in front of Rist, and even his observation hockey didn't notice it. With such a short distance eruption, Zephyr was able to reach a very fast speed. 6 styles, 6 King's Spear. Iron body, armed. Zephyr's movement speed this time was too fast. Even if Riester wanted to swing his knife, it was too late. The powerful attack directly attacked Riester's body. Even though Riester used a double defense, he still vomited a mouthful of blood. When flying backwards, they are already passively elementalized, turning into a golden light, and they are directly away from Zephyr, avoiding contact with the ground or the wall to cause secondary damage. Master, I lost. After recovering his figure, Rist could see 2 obvious fist marks on his abdomen, and blood was flowing out of his mouth. Kakuzu. Rist, although you have devil fruit, you also have the same talent that cannot be ignored. You need to turn the abilities you have gained into your own, rather than just imitating others. You are Riester, you are not Golden Lion, you are not Garp, and you are not me. You are yourself. You have to have your own fighting style and moves. Quote. Hearing what Zephyr said, Riester's mind suddenly became interesting. He always felt like he was missing something recently, and now this missing thing seems to have been found. Chapter 43 Rist's Awakening. The next day, when Riester woke up in bed, his whole body was sore, as if his bones were broken, and even today's class could not be taken, so he could only let the master take it for him. So when the students who originally belonged to Rist saw Zephyr Admiral, they all showed surprised expressions. I will replace Riester in this class today. At this time, there are already 40 students standing here, with the remaining elites selected by Zephyr Admiral from the ordinary class yesterday. Report. Say, Mr. Zephyr, what happened to the instructor of Riester? Yesterday, Rhodes, who was the hardest to be taught by Riester, asked. He was beaten, and he won't be able to get out of bed today. Zephyr said in a flat tone, perhaps it was because he was the murderer that he could be so flat. Ms. Zephyr, who beat him? We want to avenge the Riester instructor. Yeah, Teacher Zephyr, you tell us who fought, we must avenge the instructor of Riester. After a day of getting along yesterday, they have already identified with Riester very much, and have truly regarded Riester as their instructor in their hearts. For them, Riester can only be defeated by them. Seeing the expressions of the same hatred of the little ghosts in front of him, Zephyr's face instantly became gloomy, getting darker and darker. It was me who fought. Why, do you guys want to come to me for revenge? Hearing this sentence, those clamors just stopped abruptly, as if it had never happened before. Some people were frightened in a cold sweat because of the words they just said. They cleaned up Teacher Zephyr and gave them 10 guts, but they didn't dare. So they can only silently mourn Riester in their hearts now. Advertisement. It's not that the students don't help you, it's that the students are incompetent. And Riester, who was lying on the boat, kept thinking about what Zephyr said to him yesterday. Your fighting style, where is your fighting style? You are not a golden lion, you are not Garp or me, you are just yourself. Rist thought of the hateful expression on Zephyr's face, and his heart felt uncomfortable. Finally, upset, Riester got out of the bed, picked up the saber next to him, and came to the training ground, waving the most basic moves over and over again. He didn't have anything of his own, whether it was swordsmanship, hockey, or devil fruit, he got all of them from others. It wasn't until he was sweating profusely, that he was sore, and he had no strength to move, that Riester stopped. He could only use this method to calm himself down. After that, Rist began to stand on the spot, head down, because he was wearing a blindfold, it was impossible to see whether his eyes were open or closed. After the ultimate exhaustion of his body, Riester's brain plunged into ultimate calmness, as if he was the only person in this place, in the boundless darkness, and all around him were the various abilities he had acquired. Golden Lion's swordsmanship, Bogart's swordsmanship, Zephyr's physical skills, Garp's observation hockey, armament hockey, Rayleigh and Roger's conqueror's hockey, and the abilities of the 4 devil fruits. Riester deduced all kinds of moves in his mind over and over again, trying to integrate all these moves, turning all the sword intent of Golden Lion into his own sword intent, and turning the swords of Golden Lion and Bogart into his own. Kendo. In this way, Riester, who has been standing in place, sometimes bursts out sharp to the ultimate sword intent, and sometimes all of these sword intents are restrained in the body, as if it does not exist, or there is a terrifying aura bursting out of his body. This is only the body. Only those with strong skills can explode the momentum. Soon, even when it was dark, Riester didn't notice, and was immersed in his own world. Zephyr had already stood aside, watching the changes that had taken place in Riester's body, and revealed a kind of relief in his heart, letting him know that yesterday's lesson was not in vain, it was still very useful. In the end, the body really couldn't hold on, and when he was about to fall, a big warm hand suddenly supported his body. Master, Rist said in a weak voice. He has no physical strength now, and both armament hockey and observation hockey are exhausted. If he wants to recover, he can only fully replenish the energy in the body, and he has had a good rest. It seems you have found what you are missing. Advertisement. Yes, Master. Very good. Although Riester could not see the expression on Zephyr's face now, through the strength of the hands that assisted his body, Riester could still feel Zephyr's excitement. After dinner, take a good rest. Tomorrow I will be able to help you substitute lessons. Those little boys still miss you today. Yes, Master. There is another reason why Zephyr let Riester serve as the instructor of the elite class. That is, if you can teach all of what you have learned to others, it means that you have already mastered this thing. Let Lister be the instructor. It is also a kind of experience for Lister. In a blink of an eye, time has passed for 2 years again. In these 2 years, Riester has been living a 2.1-line life almost all the time. The two places of college and home are constantly wandering. Except for the Marine Academy personnel, Naval Headquarters almost forgot about him. However, in the past 2 years, Lister's strength has changed drastically compared to before. If he was a worm 2 years ago, he is now a dragon. Except that Devil Fruit's abilities could not be exposed and had not been trained, all the other abilities had already been integrated, or in other words, the abilities that he copied all belong to him. Even if the things that are fighting are the moves of others, they have their own style. Of course, this is also inseparable from Zephyr's 2 years of hard work. Lister will be beaten almost every month to speed up Lister's evolution. As List became stronger, those students were also becoming stronger. Almost every month in the competition, the Elite Class B led by Rist is the winner, and there are also reasons why the Elite Class B is generally talented if the Elite Class A is generally good. And Rist was a little doubtful that if he was beaten so badly once a month, was it Zephyr's revenge against him, public revenge. It was in revenge that the class led by Lister defeated his class. Chapter 44 Graduation Assessment. Due to Roger's pirate era, the current situation on the sea has become more and more chaotic. Almost every day there will be new pirate groups. Although most of them are a group of weak people, they cannot stand their strength. How much? Even if Marine wants to capture them into impel down, he still has more than enough energy, so Marine urgently needs to strengthen his forces. This has also led to a significant reduction in the graduation cycle of Marine Academy students. Today is a more important day for the students of the elite class, because today is their graduation assessment, and the content of the assessment is to solve a pirate group with a total bounty of more than 300 million. This also shows that they are likely to be facing people with bounties of over 100 million. Seeing the growth of his students in the past 2 years, Rist felt very proud. These youthful youths were brought out by him hand in hand. They have undergone earth-shaking changes from 2 years ago. Not only is the body stronger, but the look in his eyes also reveals a sense of confidence. Seeing the appearance of these people in front of him, Lister also nodded in satisfaction. This is the Marine in his mind. At the beginning, there were thorns among the 20 Marines, such as the Rhodes, but they were still docile by Rist. On the contrary, apart from Brally, they belong to Rhodes and Rhodes. His relationship is the best. Of course, the relationship between the other 18 people and Lister is not bad, but in addition to the feelings between friends, they also respect and fear Lister. Every month, Lister arranges for him to have a friendly exchange with his 20 students. The rules are the same as at the beginning. As long as he can make Lister take a step back, he will lose. But no matter how strong they became in the past 2 years, they were all solved with one punch and kick by Lister. Even though they have mastered the 2 or 3 styles of Marine 6 styles, they are still very useful in front of Lister. No. Even Rhodes, the strongest among them, couldn't hold Lister's punch after using Iron Body's defense. Today is a very important day for you. Riester stood in front of these 20 students and said that after they graduate, they will be elite Marines. Even if they are military ranks, they will start with ensign. If they are more powerful, it is not impossible to be directly named a school-level officer. When Riester said this, everyone's heart was full of excitement, because they all knew what they were going to face today. Starting from today, your graduation assessment will begin. You will participate in the graduation assessment together with 60 ordinary class students, and the goal of the assessment is to solve a total reward of more than 300 million without me. Pirates. After 2 years of development in the Great Pirate Era, a single pirate with a bounty of more than 100 million has not increased much, but the group of pirates with a total bounty of more than 100 million has grown a lot. If they are allowed to face the bounty of 100 million, the pirate may not really be the opponent's opponent, but a bounty of tens of millions is still possible. Advertisement. Do you have the confidence to complete it? Have. Everyone's eyes are full of confidence, and their tone is very loud. But I want to warn you in advance that this assessment is very likely to have death. Even if I am there, the safety of all of your lives cannot be guaranteed. Therefore, if some of you want to withdraw now, there is still time. After saying this, Rist scanned the expressions of the 20 people and found that their faces did not change at all. This does not mean that they are not afraid of death, but at least it shows that they dare to face death. Very well, let's board the ship. Soon, 20 people boarded the warship in neat steps, waiting for the remaining 60 ordinary class students to arrive before they could set off. Now, even though Rist looks like the vice president instructor of the Marine Academy, his rank is only below Zephyr, but his true identity is still a Marine Academy student. It stands to reason that he is not qualified to lead a warship alone. If you want to lead a warship by yourself, at least you have to be a colonel. But who makes Lister a relationship householder, and a relationship householder with a strong strength in itself? Now in the entire naval headquarters, apart from Zephyr, no one knows the true strength of Lister. But before this assessment, Zephyr had assured Kong that Riester had the strength to lead a warship, and this allowed Kong to open the back door. Soon, all the 60 members of the ordinary class arrived. I have to say that there is a big gap between the ordinary class and the elite class. Although their number is 3 times more than that of the elite class, they have the momentum is much weaker than the elite class. It is estimated that they are sergeant-level officers after graduation. After all, they graduated after a systematic study, and they also have some basic leadership skills, so they must not be allowed to be ordinary soldiers. Reporting to instructor, the general class should have 60 students, but the number is actually 60. The report is complete. A man who seemed to be the squad leader said to Lister in a military salute. Okay, let's get on the boat. Advertisement. Although Riester is relatively young, they did not underestimate him because of Riester's age. After all, in the past 2 years, Riester is still very prestigious in Marine Academy. It's under Zephyr. Yes, instructor. Among these students, there are also people who are professionally studying sailors, so there is no need for Riester to worry about some situations at sea. When the warship was traveling, Riester happened to encounter the warship that Zephyr led the marine appraisal, and the configuration was the same as Riester's. It is composed of his elite class students plus 60 students from the ordinary class. Master. Rist shouted. Yeah, Zephyr nodded coldly, very much in line with the aura of his sunglasses. To be honest, I have been with Zephyr for so many years, and Riester hasn't really seen what Zephyr looked like when he took off his sunglasses. Rist, they will leave it to you, and we must let them return safely. Zephyr said with a serious face, they are all Marine's future. After this batch of Marine graduates, the pressure on Marine can be greatly reduced. After all, Marine with 40 masters in 6 styles can still come in handy. Yes, Master, I will definitely bring them back safely, how I take them out, and how I will bring them back. Although these students are older than Lister, they were taught by Lister himself after all. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are his brothers or even children. So Rist will definitely not let them have an accident. Good. Zephyr nodded in satisfaction. With his words, Zephyr was relieved. After all, Riester's current strength is something that even he is willing to encounter now. Chapter 45 The Face of a Pirate is a Bounty. Before leaving naval headquarters, they all had an exact goal. Their target pirate group was called the Blood Wolf Pirate Group. Captain Blood Wolf Fran offered a reward of 77 million yuan, which is currently considered to be on the Grand Line. A not low bounty. The other second hands and third hands are added together in bits and pieces, and it is almost 300 million or so, which can be regarded as their mission goals. Before they set off, they learned from Marine's intelligence office that the Blood Wolf Pirates is now on Forces Island, which is located in the first half of the Grand Line and is close to the Sabayati archipelago. So it didn't take long for Riester to find them. Taking the pointer of Forces Island from naval headquarters, the warship embarked on the journey to Forces Island. However, along the way, all the students had a very spiritual expression, with 2 very strong eyes. Brightly alert to the surrounding sea. They are now eager to meet the pirates in their hearts, and a little afraid of encountering the pirates. Because they are Marines, it is their duty to eliminate pirates now, but if they encounter a pirate, it means that a battle has occurred. If a battle occurs, it is very likely to be injured or even killed. Instructor, don't you say that there are a lot of pirates in the sea? How come I haven't seen any of them? Rhodes said with a proud face. Rist really didn't understand what he was proud of. Is he proud of his identity as Marine? At the same time, he also exudes a sense of war, and it seems that he especially wants to try the results of his training for the past 2 years. Nonsense. This place is located near naval headquarters, which pirate is as big as guts, dare to hang around in this place. Rist gave him a helpless look, lying on the chair, basking in the sun, turning over and choosing a more comfortable position. Instructor, you are too lazy. If the pirates see you like this, they won't be afraid of us at all. Seeing Lister's behavior and the expression of enjoyment, Rhodes said helplessly. I don't have the tall physique of yours. Even if I have a serious expression on my face, the pirate will not be afraid of me. What this said made Rhodes somewhat speechless, but it was indeed the case. Rist seemed to be the thinnest among the entire warship, and would subconsciously be considered the weakest one. Report to instructor. A pirate ship appeared on the right front. What should we do? At this moment, a panicked and somewhat excited voice suddenly rang in the ears of all Marines of this warship. Great. I finally met the pirate ship. Advertisement. The situation on everyone's faces is different. Some people's faces are full of tension and excitement, and some people's faces are full of timidity and fear. What pirate group is it? The report instructor is the Big Sword Pirates Group, with a total bounty of about 100 million Baileys, and its captain, Big Sword Gleason, has a reward of 55 million. The other crew members together are only about 40 million. The observer said with a serious face, as the observer on the warship, he must always master the information of various pirates. Is it only 55 million? Rhodes said with a pity on his face. It's only 100 million. Although you can't meet your mission standards, you are now quasi-marine. You can't just sit idly by when you encounter a pirate. If you set off toward the pirate ship, it's a practice for you. Yes, instructor. If you can't even solve this rubbish pirate group, you'd better pack up and go home to farm. Marine industry is not for you. Don't worry, elder brother, the pirates with a reward of 50 million yuan, we are here to catch them. Brally said with a confident face that now his devil fruit has been used very skillfully. After all, he has the teachings of Riester, and he is the only person who knows that Riester has the ability of devil fruit. And Brally just considered Liester's devil fruit, which is similar to him. Then I wish you success. Rist smiled. He had just used observation hockey to perceive the opponent's strength. The strength is really not very strong. It can be said that it is easy to solve the pirate group with their current strength. But if they play abnormally, the result will be difficult to predict. After all, this is their first battle, and it can also be said that they are about to face their first murder. Although the observer of the pirate ship was not as good as the student on the warship, when the warship got closer and closer, they also discovered the existence of the warship. Captain, a warship was found in front of our pirate regiment. The observer on the pirate ship shouted nervously. What? How did Marine find us? Advertisement. Broadsword Gleason also said nervously. They also knew the configuration of a warship, especially the Marine of the Grand Line, which was different from the Marine they encountered in the Four Seas. But, Captain, something is wrong with those pirates. The observer took a closer look again. Why not? Gleason was a little confused by what he observed. Is there anything wrong with Marine? Captain, these Marines' clothes are wrong, they don't seem to be regular soldiers. What? Let me see. Gleason snatched the telescope in the observer's hand and observed it carefully. It was indeed different from Marine's clothes. Little ones, rush to me towards that warship. Gleason seemed to have thought of something, and said excitedly. Captain, you don't want to fight the front of the warship with hard steel, we can't beat it. A pirate said nervously and fearfully, his tone even sounded pleading. Ha ha ha, don't worry, if it is an ordinary Marine warship, we are indeed avoiding 3 points, but this is only the warship of Marine school students, we naturally don't need to avoid it, and rush up to let them know that we are the pirates of the Great Sword. It's amazing, it's estimated to have killed us, and my bounty will be even higher. This is for their own bounty, for the sake of their own face, the guy who cannot even have his life, the bounty on the Grand Line represents a person's face. Gleason had never thought about how they would face Marine chasing after killing this group of Marines. But they stretched out their hands wrong. The ship was not ordinary Marine students, but Marine elite students. If they were more proficient in combat experience, the master would treat them in 2 ways and treat the pirates with tens of millions of bounty. There are no problems. Yo roar, that group of pirates not only didn't run when they met us, but they also came to meet us. It seems that these pirates are really rampant. Rhodes said disdainfully. Chapter 46 The Last Lesson. The brows under Riester's mask were also twisted together. He did not expect that the first reaction of the group of pirates when they met them was not to run, but to greet them directly, and they had begun to fire cannonballs at them, which was alive. The provocation against them. Fortunately, the opponent's shooter was not very accurate, and coupled with the flexible positioning of the warship's helmsman, none of these shells hit the warship. Accelerate, I want to see in the end, what kind of pirate dared to be so prestigious. Yes, instructor. Under Riester's order, the speed of the warship was improved, and it quickly reached the front of the pirate ship. The artillery shells that attacked their warship Riester had not been shot by the students on the pirate ship. It was solved, of course, it was the students of the elite class who made the shot. Now, the gap between the elite class and the ordinary class has come out. When facing those shells, most ordinary class members showed panic and fear, while the elite class was calm and excited. Under the leadership of Rhodes and Brally, these shells did not harm the warship at all. The group of pirates quickly noticed Rist, who was standing at the forefront. Ha ha ha, are you kid the commander of this warship? Marine is really no one. Chris noticed List at a glance, and laughed at everyone on the warship. Don't let them live, understand? Rist was also a little angry with Chris' provocation. If it weren't for the experience of his students, these people would be killed instantly by him. Yes, instructor. Ha ha ha, don't let us live yet, I will keep you little devil from seeing the sun tomorrow. Little ones, give it to me. Quote. Rist naturally wouldn't let the battlefield be on his own warship. If the warship were destroyed, he would not be able to afford it. So under Riester's order, all these Marines jumped onto the pirate ship, and all the pirates they encountered were thrown down, but they didn't kill them, they just stunned the other party. Passed. Perceiving this scene, Rist frowned. Their battle was indeed very good, but it was too kind. Even Rhodes and Brally did not kill them. As for the Marine of the ordinary class, after competing with ordinary pirates for a few rounds, they were able to overturn them, but their lack of combat experience made them unable to fully display their combat power in this battle. There are even mistakes that shouldn't be made in battle. Some people are injured because of carelessness, while others are almost killed because of carelessness. In the end, it was because a finger pistol of Ristal shot and killed the pirate and saved the student's life. This was also the first person to die in this battle, and it was from Liester's hand. Advertisement. Seeing this scene, all Marine students were dumbfounded. Only the pirates didn't feel anything. After all, dead people are already commonplace for them. When the dead appear, new people will join. You guys really disappointed me too much. Although the battle was not over yet, Riester's voice immediately stopped fighting. The voice seemed to be full of majesty, making the pirates listen to Riester's words unconsciously. Do you think that fighting is playing a house? Rist said angrily, jumped directly onto the pirate ship, and blasted through the body of a pirate with a punch. Be merciful to the pirates, do you deserve to be called Marine? While speaking, Riester tackled another pirate. And these pirates seemed to be suppressed by Riester's aura, without any resistance, or the speed of Riester's shot made them simply unable to react. Marine who has never killed a pirate, you can't call it a qualified Marine. This sentence immediately made everyone ashamed. You are back on the warship. I will show you how Marine killed the pirates. Sorry, instructor, we knew we were wrong, so let us have another chance. Rhodes said with a face of shame. Yes, brother, we will not show mercy to the pirates this time. Brally also said hurriedly. The other elite students also showed the same expression. No, you go back to the warship first. This is the last lesson I want to teach you, how Marine should face the pirates. This is an order. Yes, instructor. All the students said uniformly, as if they had turned a blind eye to the pirate who was fighting just now. Seeing this group of Marines retreating to the warship, Chris shouted immediately. Hey, you Marines, when our pirate ship is, do you come and leave if you want? He was also suppressed by Riester's aura just now, and now seeing the group of Marines leaving, he finally came back to his senses. Advertisement. Why, do you have an opinion? Riester looked in Chris' direction. No, Chris was in a cold sweat. Although he could not see the eyes under Riester's blindfold, he felt as if he was being stared at by a beast. As long as he dared to say a word, he would be immediately caught in the next second. Was torn apart by the other party. Soon, there was no more Marine on the pirate ship. You have shown me carefully how we Marines should face the pirates. Yes. The students standing on the warship looked at Riester's back, and instantly felt that the opponent was much taller and stalwart. Using the real pirates to teach the students, Rist should be the first to do so. Remember, you can't be merciful to Marine, because the kindness to the enemy is cruel to ourselves. While speaking, Rist also moved his hands, very fast, like a phantom that shuttled between the pirates. Every time a pirate passed by, a pirate died. Finally, the gang of pirates finally recovered before death. Kill him, or we will die. All the pirates realized what kind of person the little demon they laughed at first was. But even if they recovered, even if they had taken the lead in defense, they still couldn't stop Riester's attack. Soon, Captain Chris was left alone on the pirate ship. You're called Chris, aren't you? Yes, my lord. At this time, after seeing Riester's strength, Chris was completely persuaded. Now as long as he can survive, let him do anything. Our two names are only one word apart, but why is there such a big gap between the two of us? Chapter 47 Blood Wolf Pirate Group. Afterwards, Riester turned his gaze to the students and said with a serious expression to them, have you learned now, the content of the last lesson? Learned. Both the elite class and the ordinary class students all said in unison. They have seen the fierceness of the battle, bloodshed, and sacrifice are the most normal. In the battle, the only thing that is not needed is the mercy of the subordinates. There are flaws. Chris looked at Rist with his back to him, and suddenly a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. He raised the 2.5-meter machete next to him and slashed directly at Rist. Instructor, be careful. Seeing Chris' actions, all the students said in a panic. They didn't expect this Chris to be so despicable, taking advantage of the danger. Sure enough, the pirate will not have a long memory. Rist's hand made a fist and wrapped around armament hockey, directly colliding with the machete that was about to fall on his head. With a bang, the 2.5-meter machete broke directly, and Riester's fist fell on Christ's face without any resistance. The powerful force blasted directly on Chris' head, and he could not wake up again when he rolled his eyes. Seeing that there was nothing wrong with Riester, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. See you, this is the pirate. The kindness to them is not only cruel to our Marine, but also cruel to ordinary people. Yes, instructor, we will definitely learn the lesson this time. All the Marine students clenched their fists, and their hearts were very restless. The last scene just now shocked them a bit. It was clear that the instructor had already shown mercy to his men, but the other party was not grateful for his tears. Going to kill. Let's go to the Blood Wolf Pirate Group. I hope you won't let me down in the next battle. Yes, instructor, we will definitely complete the task successfully. Now their location is not very far from Forces Island, which is said to be the hometown of a great man, and the name of this island is also named after that person. And it is said that there are many treasures on the island. Of course, most people regard this incident as a legend, and a small number of people take it as true. However, the residents of Forces Island generally have some fighting power. Although not very strong, there is no problem with self-protection. Advertisement. But this time they met a great pirate with a bounty of more than 70 million. Even though they had some strength, they still couldn't see enough in front of the Blood Wolf Pirate Group. At this time, the residents of Forces Island had been completely tied up by the Blood Wolf Pirate Group and gathered together. If you are acquainted, give me the treasure of Fulsus quickly, and I can spare your life, otherwise, don't blame us for being rude to you. A sharp-mouthed huss said that he was very cunning and insidious at first glance, and he was also an unscrupulous person. He was the third in command of the Blood Wolf pirate group, Greedy Peter. My lord, we really don't have the treasure of foresight that you want here. We are just ordinary people. Where can there be those valuable things? A sturdy middle-aged man showed a bitter look. After all, there was a trace of forbearance and determination in his eyes. No, do you think I'm a fool? Pete pressed a dagger against the middle-aged man's chin. The two next to you are your wife and daughter, right? At this moment, Pete's gaze suddenly fell on the woman and the girl next to him. It has to be said that it is really rare to be able to meet such a beautiful woman on this island. With long golden hair and a fearful expression, it can't help but arouse a sense of protection on the other side's face. But this is only in the eyes of ordinary people. In the eyes of these vicious pirates, this kind of woman is just a tool to satisfy their desires. The more scared the expression on their faces, the more pitiful they are, the more excited they are. In this woman's arms, she was holding a 7 or 8-year-old girl, burying her head in the other's arms, trembling all over her body. It also has golden hair with double ponytails. Although she can't see her face, she has her mother's genetic genes, and she will be a beauty after she wants to come. What do you want to do? Suddenly, the middle-aged man's expression showed anger. Hey, we are big pirates, robbing the house, is it not the most normal thing to be robbery? A wretched smile appeared on Pete's face. Seeing such a beauty, his heart is always itching. If it hadn't been for the time, he would have long wanted to give this woman to FA rectification on the spot. You guys, we really don't have Folsis treasure here. Why can't you let us go? Advertisement. The middle-aged man's expression showed a pleading look. No way, who will let your island have the legend of treasures, and even if there are no treasures, you won't lose sight of such a beauty. Pete became more and more satisfied with the blonde-haired beautiful woman. Even after they finished playing, they could sell this woman for a good price. The other pirates were also drooling at this woman, their eyes revealed greed, and they all wondered if they would be able to take their turn for a while. Mom, I'm scared. A soft voice rang from the young woman's arms, it was their daughter. Don't be afraid, Dad will protect us. Although the expression on her face was horrified, her tone was pretending to be calm while comforting her daughter. The little girl gave a faint hum, her tone was firm, and she seemed to have confidence in her father. Ha ha ha, little girl, your father can't protect himself, and he still counts on him to protect you. Go dreaming. After that, Pete's hand touched the young woman's face. What do you want to do? The middle-aged man made a fierce attack. Even though his body was tied up, he didn't know where the strength came from, and he directly staggered Pete. You guy moves. Pete suddenly looked ruthless, raised the dagger in his hand and swiped it at the man's neck. Seeing this scene, the woman closed her eyes, tears of sorrow flowed from her eyes. The other villagers also closed their eyes and couldn't bear to see this scene. The same is true for that man. In front of death, everyone is scared. Few people can open their eyes to face death. Chapter 48. After waiting for a long time, the middle-aged man didn't wait for the pain to hit. He slowly opened his eyes a little nervously, and saw that the pirate who was about to beat him up just now had turned by a Coogan and fell down to the ground. Suddenly, the scene fell into silence, and even the pirates didn't know how the third leader of their pirate group fell. It seems that I came in time. At this moment, a somewhat lazy voice suddenly resounded in everyone's ears. Even the villagers who had closed their eyes heard this voice and opened their eyes, and saw a little demon in marine uniform slowly approaching them. Come over. Originally, they were very happy when they saw the appearance of Marine. They thought they could be saved, but when they saw that Marine was already tall, their faces showed disappointment and even desperate. The rescuer who finally waited, turned out to be a kid and a blind man. That's right, it was Riester who came. When the observer said that he had discovered the island of Forsyth, Rist first used observation hockey to sense the situation on the island, and found that the situation on the island was not optimistic, so he took the first step. The moment he arrived on the island, he discovered that the pirate was planning to attack a villager, so he directly used Conqueror's hockey to stun him. At such a long distance, apart from Conqueror's hockey, he didn't have any means to save the opponent. Marine. When the pirates saw Rist, the first expression on their faces was horror. After all, it could be said that the thief met the soldier, but when they noticed that there was only one person in Marine and he was still a kid, the panic on his face disappeared, replaced by a hideous expression. Their pirate group has lost a lot of troops in Marine's hands. Although they dared not take the initiative to find Marine, they were hit by Marine. Of course, they could not sit still and fight back. Although they don't know what the Marine used to stun the third in command of their pirate group, they don't have any problems as long as they pay attention to it. What a skill. Ha ha ha, kid, are you weaned? Come to Marine and start justice. A pirate laughed at Rist, his tone full of contempt. Advertisement. But Rist didn't pay attention to this little boy, but instead looked at a man sitting on the fallen tree who said nothing, with a cold expression on his face, and his eyes full of sharpness. Although he has not seen the reward order from the Blood Wolf Pirates, if Rist guessed right, this person should be the captain of the Blood Wolf Pirates, because here is his most powerful aura. Boy, what shall I ask you? Seeing Riester neglecting himself, the pirate suddenly became a little embarrassed and angry. Roll. Only Riester answered him, but after hearing this in his ears, he fainted unconsciously. Seeing this scene, everyone's faces showed horror again. Even the captain of the Blood Wolf pirate group was full of doubts. He didn't even see how his subordinates passed out, but the only thing we can know is that it was indeed caused by the marine imp. So annoying. Rist murmured, otherwise, in order to test his students, these guys would have been solved by him in an instant. Among these people, there is almost no one who can block his Conqueror's Haki. Even their captain couldn't resist Conqueror's Haki in Riester, and even if he wasn't unconscious, he would lose his fighting power and would be wobbly. You can't run. If you run, my students will have to reselect the target, which is very troublesome. Riester said, picking his ears. What's the meaning? It means literally, your Blood Wolf pirate group has become our target, so don't think about running, and don't force me to take action, otherwise, I will be very troubled. As for the villagers who were still tied up there, Rist did not solve them, because this was also a kind of assessment. Advertisement. Instructor, are you okay? At this moment, everyone saw people in marine uniforms flying directly towards them from the air. It was not so much flying, as it was stepping in the air. There were not many people, and there were just 20 people. This scene really shocked the jaws of the pirates. When have they seen such a magnificent scene? 20 flying marines appeared, and finally, they all fell behind Rist, and called instructor to the little ghost in front of them. The assessment has begun, I hope you won't let me down. Yes, instructor. Afterwards, the 20 elite class students rushed directly into the crowd of pirates, and then 2 elite students went to rescue the hostages. Seeing this scene, Rist nodded in satisfaction. Soon after, the remaining 60 students from the ordinary class also arrived. Since they did not know moonwalk, their speed was relatively slow. After arriving here, they quickly joined the battlefield. The ordinary people who were rescued consciously fought next to Riester, because they had seen the strength of Riester just now. This is already the safest place on the entire island. I have to say that they are still very good. Clever. This time, Riester has been observing every one of these students. Fortunately, Riester did not disappoint this time. Almost every one of them was killed. As long as it was a pirate who fell on the ground, there was not a single one. Those who can survive, even the 2 pirates who were stunned by Rist with Conqueror's Haki in the first place are the same. I don't know which student made the knife. And when some students are in danger of life, Rist will also use Conqueror's Haki to stun the opponent, and then let his students carry out counter kill. Later, they also knew that after there would be no life threatening in this battle, they began to completely let go of themselves. Although they would be injured, which marine had no scars on his body, the scars on his body were honored by them. Metal, although it will hurt, but it is their journey to get honor. Seeing the more and more courageous students, Rist showed a satisfied smile on his face. Even the captain of the Blood Wolf pirate group, Eulalie had fought with him back and forth. The captain is also a demon fruit power, zone, red wolf fruit. Unlike ordinary wolves, the hair on his body is R. Chapter 49, the battle between Blaley and Rhodes. Originally, Rhodes intended to attack the captain of the Blood Wolf pirates, but he was helpless to be one step ahead of Blair. He could only reluctantly retreat to the second in command of the Blood Wolf pirates, the evil wolf, Raquel. Although Raquel is the second in command of the Blood Wolf pirate group, his strength is not much weaker than that of Blood Wolf Fran, and his bounty is as high as 61 million, which is only about 10 million less than their captain. This Raquel doesn't have Devil Fruit's abilities, but his physical skills are also very powerful, with a pair of special diamond claws, and the way of attack is not the kind of head-on-head, he will make some sneak attacks appropriately. The action should be of the assassin type. As for the other members of the Blood Wolf pirate group, Riester doesn't have to worry about it anymore. When they face Marine's elite students, they don't have any backhand power at all. Finger Pistol, one of the 6 forms, beat them to tears. Dad called his mother. The current situation in the battlefield is probably a duel between Mumu Fruit and Red Wolf Fruit, and 2 strong physical skills. Perhaps in terms of skills, Rhodes is indeed inferior to Raquel, but Raquel's Iron Claw attack is of no use to Rhodes at all. When Rhodes is about to be attacked, he will use Iron Body for defense. Although the requirement of each student in the elite class is to learn at least 2 of the 6 forms, Rist has changed the requirements for them and become more stringent. It is necessary to learn the 5 forms. In addition to paper arts, everything else must be learned, and in order to achieve his goals, Riester has been conducting devilish training for them every day for the past 2 years. This also caused these students to be respectful and afraid of Riester. Because of Riester, their strength can become so strong, but it is also because of Riester that they have received some inhuman treatment in the past 2 years. But although they all learned the 5 styles, not all of them are Grandmaster. Most of them can be used, but the power and the effect are not very good. But there is one style. Riester requires them to be Grandmaster, that is Moonwalk. This is when they are defeated, they can escape at any time. Rhodes is a student of Grandmaster Moonwalk, Iron Body and Finger Pistol. It took 2 years to be able to use 3 of the 6 Grandmaster types. As for Shaving and Tempest Kick, Rhodes can also use them, but not very much. Skilled. After all, Rhodes has a good plan for himself. He is a power player, not a speed player. Others can beat him several times, but he only needs to hit the opponent once. Advertisement. What's the matter? Big guy, can you just defend? When Raquel was attacking, he stretched out his tongue, not knowing why his tongue was so long. He could reach out of his mouth, and he could speak normally without biting his tongue. He sneered at Rhodes without mercy. But Raquel's heart was also very awkward. He felt that he was fighting him not a flesh and blood person, but a piece of steel. His attack on the opponent would only make a ping-pong sound, but there was no scars. No. Seeing Rhodes's defensive posture, Rist nodded in satisfaction, squatting, bending over, and putting his hands on his chest. This can be said to be the most perfect defensive posture, as long as it is not more powerful than Rhodes several times. The attack would hardly cause damage to Rhodes. Regarding Raquel's mockery, Rhodes's eyes did not waver at all. He also knew that he did not have the advantage in speed, so he could only concentrate all his power on his fist, and then in an instant, he gave the opponent a fatal hit. As for the battle between Blair and Fran, Fran has become a werewolf now. She looks like a wolf but can stand on 2 legs. The figure is also much stronger than before, and the height and weight have increased visible to the naked eye. When Fran used the Devil Fruit ability, Rist could clearly feel the fear of the villagers behind him. Obviously, they should have seen this situation for the first time. Braley's skin color has turned brown, the color of trees, and his body has undergone tremendous changes. The hair on his head has become green leaves of trees, his body has become a tree trunk, and his fingers have become branches. Although it looks like this fruit is a waste material, it has many special abilities. For example, Eulali's body can grow spikes, just like a cactus, or bloom flowers blooming with poisonous gas, unknowingly, poisoning opponents. This is still the skill that Lister gave to Blayley, because the master had acquired this ability when Lister had been training in the dark. Advertisement. But Moo Fruit also has one of the biggest shortcomings, that is, they are afraid of fire. Although they can turn their bodies into iron wood, they will not last long if they are in a fire. Although Moo Fruit is not considered a powerful fruit in Paramesha, if the fruit ability is awakened, it will inevitably become one of the top Paramesha devil fruits. After awakening, you can turn everything around you into trees, so that you can perform the move that Riester had imagined in his mind. When the tree world descends, even in the vast ocean, you can use this move to make a foothold. The battle is about to end. In the frontal battle, the increase of Moo Fruit is indeed not as strong as that of the Red Wolf Fruit. It only improves some defense and attack abilities. However, using the special abilities of Marine 6 Styles and Moo Fruit, Eulalie can also follow Fran dealt with it. And the reason Riester said this is because in the induction of his observation hockey, a small flower suddenly grew on the top of Eulalie's green leaves, and it was still a coquettish little purple flower. Hidden in the middle of a dense green leaf, if you don't look carefully, you can't find it at all. And even if it is discovered, no one will care, because it is normal for a small flower to appear in a bunch of green leaves. But Rist knew that the real purpose of the little flower was to release a toxin that paralyzed the nerves. During the battle, the opponent would unknowingly inhale this toxin into the body. I have to say that this skill is indeed a shame. After all, their nerves will definitely be in a state of high tension behind the battle. Even if they are slow to react or feel physical pain, they will just think that this is the place of injury. As a result, I would never think about poisoning at all. After all, poison is used in battle, this kind of despicable means of combat is still rarely seen. When Lister told Blarley about this skill, Blarley was still embarrassed to use it. But after Rist's enlightenment, Blair's face has become thicker and thicker. As long as he can defeat his opponent, it will be shameless. Chapter 50. Rhodes, who fought Raquel, has found Raquel's shooting pattern. Although Raquel is a big man, if he is personally careful, Raquel can definitely be among the 20 elite students. It can be considered to be among the best. Everyone's moves are almost fixed, especially when facing a fixed object, and Rhodes is a fixed object for Raquel. No matter what kind of attack Raquel makes, Rhodes will have been defending with iron body. So because Rhodes's defense method has not changed, this has also led to the fact that Raquel's offensive method has not changed. Rhodes has now also discovered that Raquel's nerves have been somewhat relaxed. To be honest, Rhodes dislikes such battles very much. Although the opponent can't hurt himself, Rhodes also doesn't like the feeling of being beaten. He likes that a person can have a head-on contest with him. Experience the thrill of punching to the flesh. In the face of speed or skill-based opponents, this fighting method was taught by Riester. Using Rhodes's patience and care, this is a very suitable fighting method for him. It's now. Rhodes' eyes widened in an instant, and all the defenses on his body were suddenly relaxed, and he quickly stretched out a punch. Since this punch Rhodes exploded the power of his whole body, the speed of his punches was also extremely fast. The timing that Rhodes found was the time when Raquel's attacks came to a halt, and within this time, Raquel could not make any moves. Iron Body Bang. Although Rhodes can also use Finger Pistol, he prefers the power that Iron Body gives him. And this move is similar to Lister's Iron Body Bump Fist. After all, this trick was also taught to him by Rist. It can be regarded as a weakened version of Iron Body Bangkwan. Although Rhodes really likes and is very suitable for cultivating Iron Body, he has not reached the point where he can use Iron Body to operate freely like Riester, so when using Iron Body, he can't mobilize the energy in the body at will. So Rhodes started with the simplest part that was most helpful to him, and that was his fist. Coupled with Riester's guidance, Rhodes' progress on the iron body was already the strongest among the 20 elite students. NS. Even some Vice Admiral from Naval Headquarters is not as proficient in iron body as Rhodes. After all, Rhodes is now majoring in iron body, while most Vice Admiral only requires a 6-type master. Requires Grand Master. The powerful fist force directly knocked Raquel's body into the air. During the flight, the body was bent into a bow shape, and even the eyeballs almost flew out of the eye sockets. Needless to say, under this blow, even if Raquel was immortal, he would have lost half of his life. Advertisement. He flew several tens of meters away, and never stood up again. Rist could feel the faint breath radiating from his body. Although he did not die immediately, he could not hold on for long if he left it alone for a long time. Time is up. The internal organs in his body had already shifted under the blow of Rhodes, and some had even been broken into slag. It can be said that the inside of his body was already in a state of bleeding. Even if the vitality of the people in the pirate world is tenacious, they can't last long. And the blood wolf Fran who was fighting with Blair didn't have the energy to pay attention to his deputy captain's situation at all. He didn't know why. He felt that the surrounding voices seemed to be getting smaller and smaller, and the realization was getting more and more. It was dim, and the feeling in my mind was particularly sleepy. As if he was going to fall asleep in the next second. But he knew that if he was asleep, death was definitely waiting for him. He didn't know why he was like this, but he was absolutely inseparable from the person in front of him. At this time, Eulalie had stopped his attack, looking at the blood wolf whose figure had been swaying in front of him. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Now the result is very obvious. Rhodes has already solved his opponent, and of course he can't fall behind. And Fran also felt that his body was limp, as if he couldn't stand up anymore. His attack was concentrated on Blaley's body, and Blaley did not hide, because for him now, Fran's the attack was already soft and weak. Go down. At this time, Eulalie's voice was like a magic sound to Fran. At the moment the voice fell, Fran fell straight in front of Eulalie, and even Devil Fruit's state disappeared. NS. Then Blaley took out the pistol that was pinned to his waist and killed the opponent without hesitation. In this regard, even if the war is over here, no one on Marine was killed. Although there were wounded, they were all slightly injured. And the villagers all cheered excitedly at this time, and the demon in their eyes had now been repelled by the angel of justice. Hearing the cheers of these villagers, the students also showed smiles on their faces. What is their purpose as a Marine? It is to eliminate harm to the people and get the recognition of the people on the sea. Now that they have done it, they have realized that they have become Marines. In a real sense, they have also received a satisfactory report for their hard work in the past 2 years. All they have paid are worth it. Advertisement. Congratulations, the assessment passed. Rist said with a smile. He was also very proud in his heart, because he brought out these students after all. Yeah, hearing Lister's words of approval, these students all cheered. Although they all cheered the same, the cheers with these villagers had 2 meanings. Thank you, everyone, thank you. At this moment, a villager suddenly walked up to Lister and them, knelt on the ground and said. This man was the one who had just been rescued by Lister. It doesn't have to be. Rist quickly helped him up. It is our Marines' duty to eliminate pirates, and this is what we should do. But I still want to thank you. If it weren't for you, the consequences for us people would be disastrous. At this moment, his face was already full of tears, and he couldn't imagine what would happen if Rist came a while later. He might be in hell now, and his wife might be enduring it too. Inhuman torture. But should you change the name of your island? After all, in this era, pirates like the Blood Wolf pirate group will definitely have endless levels. Yes, we will definitely obey the words of my benefactor, and there will be no Fulsus Island in the world in the future. Good. But at this moment, Riester's expression instantly reappeared, and the joyful expression on his face disappeared immediately, replaced by a gloomy and solemn face. Chapter 51. Kaido strikes. Big brother, what's the matter? Brawley noticed the change in Lister's face and asked with concern. Hurry up and ask Naval Headquarters for help. At least Kuzan, Sakazuki, and Pelusolino should be sent out one Vice Admiral, preferably Pelusolino. Good. Brawley didn't ask any more, because seeing Riester's face change dramatically, he realized the seriousness of the matter. Others protect these people and run as far as they can. A cold sweat broke out on Riester's forehead, and his observation hockey just now sensed a huge aura flying towards them. The huge vitality was far inferior to Master Zephyr. It was also in the shape of a dragon, and Rist couldn't think of anyone else besides that guy. Master Marine, what's the matter? Don't ask, do as I say and execute the order. Yes, instructor. Then these students ignored the resistance of these ordinary people and forcibly took them away and stayed away from this place. Soon, dark clouds began to spread in the sky, lightning and thunder began to flash, and a huge phantom was looming in this gloomy thundercloud. It turned out to be this guy. Although Rist could not see the specific appearance of that creature, he thought it should be one of the 4 emperors in the future, Kaido. He couldn't understand why he met this guy here, but now he has no room to think about it. Those Marines or civilians who hadn't escaped yet saw the huge dragon shadow in the sky, and they were all stunned. That's the big pirate, Kaido. A Marine Academy tremblingly said that when they were studying, the pirates that needed to be paid attention to were the New World pirates, so they also got to know Kaido a little bit. That's the big pirate of New World, how could it be here? I don't know, you ask me, who am I going to ask? Blayley, did you ask Naval Headquarters for help? I'll fight now. Afterwards, Blair hurriedly took out the phone bug, and then called out helplessly. When faced with Kaido's momentum, they were pretty good without being scared. Advertisement. Blue blue blue. Click, hello, this is Naval Headquarters. We are students in the elite class of Marine Academy. We were attacked by big pirates during our outing assessment. We asked our headquarters for support. Brawley said in a panic. Which pirate is it? Where is your instructor? It's the big pirate of New World, the captain of Beast's pirates, Kaido. Our instructor is entangled with Kaido. Please send troops to the headquarters quickly. Okay, I see, you must hold on. The person at Naval Headquarters also realized the seriousness of the matter. It was Kaido of Beast's pirates. Even if it was a pirate that Marine Admiral didn't want to face, it's not that his strength is too strong, but that his vitality is too tenacious. After hanging up the phone, he quickly reported to his superiors that this kind of New World pirate appeared in the first half of the Grand Line, and he had to report it directly to Admiral. Report Sengoku Admiral, it's not good. The operator came to Sengoku Admiral's office in a panic, sweating on his forehead from the fast running. What's wrong? Panicked. Sengoku rubbed his temples and was about to take over as the marshal. He is getting busier and busier now. If he gets busy anymore, he feels like he's going to die suddenly. Report that Sengoku Admiral encountered Kaido from Beast's pirates during the evaluation process of the elite class of Marine Academy. They are seeking help from the department. What? Hearing this report, Sengoku stood up from his chair in shock, his eyes widened a lot. Who is the leading instructor? It's a Marine named Riester. I haven't heard of it. Oops. There was a cold sweat on Sengoku's forehead, and if something happened to Rist, Zephyr would be able to fight Kaido desperately. Where is the location of Zephyr Admiral now? On Kura Island, there is a huge distance from Fulsus Island. If Zephyr Admiral is sent for reinforcements, it may be too late. Damn it, let Pelusolino put down all the work at hand, go to Fulsus Island to reinforce Riester, and tell him that there is absolutely no way for Riester to have an accident. Yes, Sengoku Admiral. And on Fulsus Island, Rist felt that Kaido's spirit seemed a little wrong, as if it was a little blurred. Belch. Advertisement. Suddenly, Kaido burped, and the strong smell of alcohol emanated from Kaido's mouth, and Riester smelt it all at once. So you drank too much. Rist secretly said, letting out a sigh of relief in his heart. Is this the island of Forces? Give Lousy the treasure of Forces quickly. Kaido said intermittently, talking and belching alcohol. It turned out that Kaido was drinking with his subordinates, and heard his subordinates mention this legend, and then he flew directly over. It was too late for several of his subordinates to stop it. There is no treasure of Forsyth here. Riester replied, if Kaido can be distracted in this way, that would be great. He doesn't want to fight Kaido. It's one thing to say whether you can fight to death or whether you can fight it. Hiccup. You deceive, quickly hand over the treasure of Forces, otherwise Lousy will let your island disappear from the world. I said, there is no Forsyth's treasure here. Since there is no such thing, then there is no need for this island to exist. After speaking, Kaido opened his mouth, and a fireball formed in Kaido's mouth. Heat. A powerful flame spurted directly from Kaido's mouth, and his target was Riester in front of him. This guy, you really want to fight as long as you say it. Afterwards, Rist also drew his saber on his waist and covered it with an armed hockey. Slash wave. A golden sword gas instantly split the blazing flames from the middle, and directly hit Kaido's mouth. However, since the attack power of Slash Wave has been partially offset by the flames, plus Kaido's pervert physique, Slash Wave's attack on Kaido's mouth has no effect. What is your relationship with Golden Lion? Kaido seemed to wake up a bit. After all, he and Golden Lion used to be crew members of the same pirate group, so he was very familiar with Golden Lion's attacks. You don't need to worry, Kaido, go back to your new world obediently, this is not your presumptuous place. Now that the battle has begun, there is no need to be merciful. Chapter 52 vs Kaido. What do you kids say? Lousy can't go anywhere. Lousy can go wherever he wants to go, even if it's your naval headquarters. Lousy will go as long as you want, and go back if you want. Kaido was a little awake at this time, so he noticed the marine uniform that Riester was wearing. The most annoying thing about Lousy is you Marines, let me die. Bad wind. Quote. Kaido opened his mouth again, but this time it wasn't flames that he breathed out, but wind blades after another, like the slashing of a sickle, which can cut the enemy. Lion. Thousand Slice Valley. Riester also immediately used his own swordsmanship. If Kaido's attack fell on this island, the island might be gone. Since Golden Lion is a great swordsman with two swords, Rist didn't use a lot of sword energy with a single sword, but it was enough to block the wind blade in Kaido's mouth. You know, Rist slash is a sword-powered slash, and it can't be blocked by a casual sword-like attack. After several sword chi broke through the wind blade, it hit Kaido's body again. Hey, it hurts, you kid. The attack fell on Kaido's body, and it did not cause obvious scars to Kaido, but it also made Kaido feel the pain from the skin. After all, even if Kaido was rough and thick, he resisted several slashes of the great swordsman from the front. Some can't stand it. At this time, Kaido had completely sobered up, and then the huge dragon body fell down and turned back into a human form, looking at Rist with solemn eyes. Lister stood in front of Kaido, like an adult and a child. After all, Kaido's body was too large, and Lister was indeed a child. You kid, won't you be Golden Lion's son? Golden Lion actually let his son join Marine, ha 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 ha, you are really going to laugh at me. Kaido seemed to have recognized his guess, and laughed. But even if you are Golden Lion's son, Laozi will not show mercy to you. Just take care of me by Golden Lion. Although he used to be on a pirate ship with Golden Lion, his relationship with Golden Lion was not very good. Golden Lion was a cadre of that pirate group, and he was just an intern of that pirate group. Advertisement. The relationship between them is not equal, and the pirate group is a place where strength is the best. Interns like them are usually oppressed. Of course, Golden Lion has also bullied him. Laozi is not the illegitimate child of Golden Lion. Kaido, I think you should look at your brain before you become a pirate. Your brain is flooded. Come on, Golden Lion's illegitimate child, let me take a look, your strength has reached a few % of Golden Lion. Kaido seems to have identified Lister, no matter what Lister says now, it seems to be useless. Remember it for me, Laozi is Lister, a marine. After speaking, Rist took the knife and covered armament hockey and slashed towards Kaido. Kaido also took out his mace and expanded with Rist's sword. In an instant, a black and red lightning burst out from the junction of the two weapons, and two similar but somewhat different auras enveloped the Golden Lion and Rist. This is Conqueror's Haki. Even the clouds in the sky split because of the collision between the two. The powerful momentum generated by the collision between the two directly broke the island to pieces, as if a 10th level wind had blown, all the trees had broken, and the ground also cracked around the two people. While hiding in the distance, some unsteady people fainted directly. What's happening here? Bradley said in shock. He felt that his brain had stopped thinking now. Is this the aura that humans can produce? Just kidding. Rhodes also said with an unbelievable look. They thought that their strength was strong enough, but now that they saw this battle, they knew that they were too whimsical. They have seen another piece of the world, they have seen the gap with the world's top. Unexpectedly, Instructor's strength is so powerful, it can even be equal to that Kaido. That's right, in their eyes, Conqueror's Haki on Rist's body firmly suppressed Kaido. After all, the Conqueror's Haki that Riester broke out is a combination of Rayleigh and Roger, plus his own. If Riester masters the more advanced usage of Conqueror's Haki, he believes that no one in this world is better than his Conqueror's Haki. Strong. Advertisement. You kid. This time, Kaido finally faced Lister. Conqueror's Haki has few people able to crush him, including his former captain, Rocks, One Piece, Roger, and the only one still alive, the old man Whitebeard. Other people's Conqueror's Haki is either equal to him, or weaker than him, but he did not expect that Conqueror's Haki, who is stronger than him, would meet with a kid and feel stronger than Conqueror's Haki of the old man Whitebeard. Interesting, join us Beasts Pirates, Marine is not for you. Kaido's brain circuit didn't know how long it was, so he directly invited Lister. You don't have that qualification yet. This sentence, but completely irritated Kaido. The strength in his hand suddenly increased a lot. Even though his Conqueror's Haki was weaker than Lister's, his strength was much stronger than Lister's. Under Kaido's strong power, Lister's feet were slowly sink into the ground. Really a monster. Riester gritted his teeth inwardly. If he persists, it is very likely that he will be beaten into the ground by Kaido half of his body. Afterwards, Riester's body directly turned into a golden light and disappeared, and Kaido suddenly had no strength to compete with it due to the use of powerful power, and his body staggered, a little unbalanced. Boy, I didn't expect you to be demon fruit power. Although Kaido hadn't recognized what devil fruit Riester was using for the time being, or that he hadn't even thought about the devil fruit that appeared before, based on the action that Riester had just left, it should be Logia's. There are so many things you don't know. Rist is not afraid to be exposed now, after all, his life is the most important thing. After speaking, Rist was elementalized again, and came directly to the top of Kaido's head. It was another sword. Now his swordsmanship is his most powerful attack. If swordsmanship is useless, then other attacks will not be able to achieve much. Effect. Chapter 53 Kizaru Reinforcement. Although Riester's swordsmanship was copied, he is now a veritable swordsman, and he is still copied from Golden Lion's sword intent and tricks, and after his endless training in the past 2 years, he has completely it can be the artistic conception of a master swordsman, no matter what kind of move it is, it will have the power of a swordsman. Magic Sword, Shiracut. This is a move created by Riester in the past 2 years. I saw that there was a mysterious purple light on Riester's sword, like a pattern of ghosts, carrying the infinite sword intent. And a special mood. This kind of mood can not only strengthen the power of sword intent, but also confuse the opponent's mind, but this trick does not play a big role for Kaido. The big pirate like Kaido has a very firm mind and mood, almost nothing. Something can confuse his mind. Thunder 8 trigrams. I saw Kaido's iron rod suddenly engulfed with lightning, exploding with a huge aura, and it seemed to still have the aura of Conqueror's Haki. Shira's sword intent directly collided with Kaido's iron rod entwining thunder and lightning. The strong aftermath directly caused the sea outside the island to produce layers of waves. The climate in the sky has become extremely dim, and it has almost been seen. The light is bright. The people on the island are struggling to support under the protection of those marine students, but those students are not feeling well now. The impact of the two conquerors' hockey just now almost fainted all the civilians on the island. Most of the classmates were also fainted. Only the 20 elite class students are able to move freely, but their spirits are constantly facing tremendous pressure, because every collision between Riester and Kaido will almost always involve a confrontation between conquerors' hockey. And regardless of the rubble brought by the hurricane flying in all directions, and facing such rubble, only they have the strength to solve it. At this time, Riester's face was already a bit hideous. Of course, Kaido was not very comfortable either. The feeling that conquerors had been suppressed all the time caused his combat effectiveness to drop rapidly. Therefore, there were drops of cold sweat on Kaido's forehead. His skin was thick and thick, but if he could not defend against Riester's attack, Riester's swordsmanship would definitely leave wounds on his body. The two are now at a stage where they are insisting on each other. Kaido can't help but Kaido, and Kaido can't do anything with Rist. The two are now in such a delicate balance. Let's see who can take the lead. Break this balance. But in the next second, Rist's eyes condensed, and saw that the sword in his hand had broken marks. Of course, Kaido also saw this scene. Ha ha ha, boy, although your swordsmanship is good, but unfortunately, your weapons are not good. Kaido felt that his victory was hopeful. Advertisement. Any knife can become a black knife. This sentence is a sentence said by the future great swordsman, Hawkeye Mahawk. The touch of this sentence is very simple. Even if it is a wooden sword, as long as it is wrapped around armament hockey, it will become indestructible. But this sentence is not absolutely accurate. It has a lot to do with the weapon used by the opponent. His armament hockey is not as good as Kaido, but the quality of the weapon in his hand is not good. After all, the sword in Riester's hand is just an ordinary marine saber. There is no way to compare with the iron rod in Kaido's hand. It's really enough to drop the chain. Riester cursed in his heart, and if the stalemate continues, after the sword in his hand is completely shattered, the iron rod wrapped around armament hockey in Kaido's hand will definitely matter to him. Then, even if his usefulness as elemental can't escape. There is no way, Rist can only take the initiative to retreat, and the sword in his hand has been completely abandoned by him. A knife that is about to shatter has no effect in this battle. On the contrary, it will become a cumbersome. This knife will make Riester fearful in the battle, and he will not dare to use his full strength. So it would be better to just discard this knife now. Marine, no weapons, what are you fighting against me? Who said I have no weapons? Rist smiled mysteriously, and saw Rist's hands clenched fists together and then extended to the sides, a golden light formed directly between the two hands. Sky Cloud Sword. I saw that a golden sword appeared in Rist's hands. Come on, Kaido, the second round begins. After speaking, Riester directly elementalized and rushed to Kaido, faster than before. Advertisement. After all, it is a sword made of elements. Even if it is covered with armament hockey, it may be stronger than an ordinary sword, but at most it is the quality of a big knife. But it was much better than the sword that Riester had used before. You kid. Kaido cursed secretly. He didn't expect this kid to be so difficult. He thought that after Riester's sword was broken, the battle would become much easier, but he didn't expect to make this kind of evil way again. The collision between Riester's Sky Cloud Sword and Kaido's Iron Rod, although a little bit of golden light will fall from the Sky Cloud Sword, it does not get in the way, and Riester's elements will continue to be supplemented. At this time, the battle between the two people has become more and more fierce, Riester's shot speed is getting faster and faster, and Kaido can only passively defend. Although it seems that Riester has the upper hand now, it is not the case. Riester's physical strength is about to bottom out. Rist. At this moment, Rist heard a somewhat wretched and familiar voice, and he knew who this person was right away. Hearing this sound, Riester immediately left using elementalization. Bakichang Guyu. Countless dazzling light bullets directly covered the area where Rist was fighting with Kaido just now, but since Rist had already been elementalized and left, there was only Kaido there. Seeing the arrival of reinforcements, Rist breathed a sigh of relief. Poor Salino's strength is very strong, at least now in Marine, almost no one knows how his full strength is. As soon as the salary arrives, the four emperors will waste it. Riester originally thought that this sentence was just talking, but now it does not seem to be the case. Speed is power. There is nothing wrong with this sentence. Especially when Riester got the sparkling fruit, he knows the power of this fruit even more. How powerful. Chapter 54 Kaido Dragon Formation. It's really time to come, Pelusalino Vice Admiral. Rist flew to Kizaru's side and said to him. Afterwards, Riester also assumed the same posture as Kizaru. Bakichang Guyu. The double 8-foot Chang Guyu directly covered the area where Kaido was, and a cloud of dust had spread on the ground, completely enveloping Kaido. Seeing the moves used by Rist, Pelusalino sighed slightly. His moves were actually used by another person. This feeling is really uncomfortable. I want to stop the other person. I found myself helpless. Your ability is really a little bit awkward. Poor Salino said to Riester. If it's owed, I can't match Pelusalino's Vice Admiral. Hearing Riester's piercing counterattack, Glass Salino curled his lips. He had grown up like this, and he had nothing to do. It was natural. After that, The attacks of the two stopped at the same time, but the expressions on the faces of the two people did not relax in any way, and they were still very solemn. Their observation haki felt that Kaido's aura was still very strong, as if it hadn't been affected by this move at all. After the dust dissipated, Kaido entered the sight of the two again. I saw that Kaido's body had golden spots of light, but there was no injury, and the skin scorched by the light bomb. It is slowly recovering little by little. Then, a powerful breath burst out of Kaido's body. This breath was like a beast, giving people a shuddering feeling. At this moment, Kaido is not a person, but a dragon in Riester's feelings. With such a huge vitality, Riester has never seen it before. Porcelino Vice Admiral, is it okay to leave this guy to you alone? Riester said. Hey, you can forgive me and let me deal with this monster by myself. Isn't this killing me? But my physical strength has also bottomed out. Rist said sadly. Advertisement. Let's lie to the ghost. Porcelino gave Riester a white look. Even if it is naturally demon fruit power, using attacks consumes one's own energy, and the 8-foot jade used by the steel Riester is obviously still a good job. Ha, I didn't expect to be discovered by Vice Admiral. Rist smiled, not at all ashamed of being exposed to a lie. Seriously, this guy is not so easy to deal with. Suddenly, Porcelino's expression became serious. Okay, I know. Seeing Porcelino's expression like this, Rist knew that he couldn't fish in troubled waters. Rist is absolutely Kizaru's fish in troubled waters in battle is not Kizaru's original character, it may be a side effect of sparkling fruit, after all, even Rist is now a little bit inclined towards the future Kizaru trend. Although he had been fighting hard just now, he didn't explode his full strength, but he was nearly 80% of his strength, because Riester knew that even if he exploded with all his strength, he would not be Kaido's opponent. But now that Kizaru is here, the result is different. The two of them are really likely to knock Kaido back. The scene of two sparkling fruits fighting at the same time is really spectacular. Hearing these words from Rist, Porcelino also showed a different color on his face. Perhaps he was also looking forward to the appearance of two sparkling fruits at the same time. After all, sparkling fruit itself is both gorgeous and powerful. Afterwards, Kizaru took a step forward and came to Kaido in direct elementalization. Have you been kicked by the speed of light again? It was Kizaru's beating voice again. You yellow-skinned monkey is really annoying. Kaido said angrily. He has dealt with Porcelino several times, so he is very aware of the difficulty of sparkling fruit. Now he has an ability similar to sparkling fruit. He will definitely fight after a while. Not fun at all. Kizaru's speed is very fast. Even if Kaido intentionally wants to defend against Kizaru's attack, he can't do it. After all, Kizaru's speed has surpassed Kaido observation haki, and the opponent's haki can't catch him at all. Kizaru kicked directly on Kaido's head. A normal person touched this kick and his head was gone. Even a powerful person who was the first to defend with armament haki would be kicked more than 10 meters away. Dozens of meters away. Advertisement. But Kaido, the observation haki with only the head, defended Kizaru's light speed kick, and didn't step back. Are you just this strength, yellow-skinned monkey? What if you make another kick? Kaido had just finished taunting, and another nasty voice came from his ear. This voice was Riester. He didn't know when he had appeared on Kaido's head, his feet were glowing with golden light, and he hit Kaido's head directly. Go down. The powerful impact instantly shattered the ground under Kaido's feet, and half of his legs were already in the ground. Afterwards, the two backed up at the same time. At the same time, he extended his index finger to Kaido. At this time, Kaido, whose legs are embedded in the ground and unable to move, is like a living target. Laser. There was a golden light on the fingertips of the two people at the same time, and then they flew out directly at Kaido, concentrated on Kaido, and a huge explosion occurred directly. One after another laser shots directly hit Kaido's body, but the expressions on the faces of the two people are still very solemn, because in their observation haki perception, Kaido's vitality is still so strong, and their attacks are on Kaido. In other words, the effect is very weak. But even so, the two have not stopped. Kaido, who was covering his head with his hands, was very angry at this time. He was particularly frustrated in this battle. He was not very good at speed, so his attack could not hit two people at all. And he really looked like a target now. Afterwards, Kaido felt more and more aggrieved. When did he suffer such aggrievedness? The strength of these two men was obviously not as good as him, but he just couldn't defeat them. You two guys irritate me completely. Kaido yelled. His body shape gradually changed, and he saw scales grow on his body, and the injuries he had just left on his whole body healed in an instant. As soon as he exerted force on his legs, he immediately broke free from the restraints of the ground. No, this monster. Both Porcelino and Rist were stunned. They knew Kaido was a monster, but their strength was far beyond their imagination. In particular, Riester suffered a heavy blow in his heart. He originally thought he was not far from the world, but he did not expect that there was still a distance. Chapter 55 Riester's strongest form. Both Riester and Porcelino have left cold sweats on their foreheads. They both know that with Kaido's current physique, they will definitely become stronger again in the future. They simply can't imagine how Kaido's future strength will be. What kind of point is reached? Is this the four emperors of the future? I didn't expect it to be so terrible now. Rist thought with a heavy heart that although he believed he would become stronger, he now had to admit that there was still a big gap between him and Kaido. I saw that in a flash. Kaido's figure reached directly in front of the two people, and his two big hands grabbed the heads of Liester and Pelusolino. Pelusolino's eyes shrank, and Riester's observation haki also felt a great danger. Fortunately, the ability of sparkling fruit also made their expressions react faster. The two were elementalized in an instant, and the light element passed directly between Kaido's fingers. Since it was already elementalized, even if Kaido's hands were covered with armament haki, they could not grasp the two entities. The two of them came to Kaido's back in an instant, and at the same time they transformed the Sky Cloud sword and slashed at Kaido. However, the scars caused very in-depth. Since Pelusolino is not a great swordsman, his lightsaber fell on Kaido's body without any scars, while Riester left a wound on Kaido's body. A puff of blood came out directly from Kaido's back. Damn, it's kid. Kaido directly turned around, waved his hand to the back, and the two of them once again evaded elementally at the same time. It's like a fly, so annoying. Kaido said angrily. In the dragon state, Kaido has greatly improved its strength, speed and endurance, and even its resilience has become abnormally terrifying. The sword wound that Riester left on Kaido's body was in the blink of an eye. It's restored as before. Rist is still good at physique, but Pelusolino's physique is not good at all. If the two of them face the current Kaido hard steel, they are likely to be crushed on the ground by Kaido. Master Vice Admiral, won't you be the only reinforcements coming? Probably not. Poor Solino's forehead also shed a drop of cold sweat or two. If he were the only one, then the fate of the two of them would be terrible. Advertisement. Next, I will use my strongest form, but after that, I will be relieved and I will lose any resistance. So when that happens, I will ask Master Vice Admiral. Hey, don't you give me such a troublesome thing. Poor Solino said reluctantly. Well, or leave the task of containing Kaido to you, and I will do the aftermath. Forget it, give me a break, I don't want to fight this monster head on. Kizaru spread his hands. Although his tone was frivolous, the expression on his face didn't match his tone at all. Then I'll beg you. Afterwards, Rist's figure suddenly radiated golden light, and began to grow bigger, slowly turning into a golden Buddha, similar in shape to the Sengoku Buddha, probably because of the difference in face. As Sengoku Admiral's Devil Fruit ability. If this is the case, it is indeed possible to contain Kaido. But shortly afterwards, in Kizaru's surprised gaze, a sword condensed with light elements suddenly appeared in the hands of Rist's Buddha form. Does the big Buddha form plus the ability of sparkling fruit? Unexpectedly, the ability of two fruits can be used at the same time. Poor Solino looked at Rist's eyes a little more seriously. If all the devil fruit abilities in Rist's body could be used together, it would be terrifying. However, the main attack ability of the great Buddha form is the shock wave. With the Sky Cloud sword, is it not worth the gain? Poor Solino thought, squinting. However, he now has to admit that the strength shown by Liester is already very terrifying, and he is definitely the most powerful candidate for Admiral in the future, and is likely to become his competitor. Oh, upon seeing this scene, Kaido's eyes flashed with a strange color, and he was more and more unable to understand what Riester's devil fruit ability was. Advertisement. However, Pelusolino suddenly discovered that a small purple flower appeared on the head of the big Buddha in Liester. I saw that Riester's big Buddha form was directly elementalized to the top of Kaido's head, kicked directly at Kaido, stepped into the ground with a powerful impact, and directly lifted Kaido's huge body. Then Rist raised the Sky Cloud sword and slashed directly at Kaido. It's just that when the sword fell, a shock wave directly enveloped Kaido. Unlike the great Buddha shockwave used by Sengoku Admiral, the shockwave used by Rist with the Sky Cloud sword contains a terrifying sword intent. Afterwards, Kaido was enveloped by the shock wave, and dense scars appeared on the surface of his body, as if he had been chopped by countless swords, and a stream of blood also spurted out of Kaido's mouth. This is the original ability of the shock wave, which directly affects the internal organs in Kaido's body. After the shot fell, Rist retreated in an instant, panting heavily. The cold sweat on his forehead was already dense, and the physical consumption of the big Buddha form was too terrifying. Just after such a short period of time, Liester was already unable to hold on, and the golden light on the surface of the Buddha was looming at this time. Afterwards, Kaido was also aiming at the time and arrived in front of Rist almost instantly. At this time, the two people were about the same size. Kaido's mace was swung hard, and Rist's body was like playing a baseball. Was knocked out. Immediately afterwards, Kaido wanted to win the chase, but at this moment, Pelusolino, who was in a visual battle, suddenly shot. Although he could not cause effective damage to Kaido, he could also be harassed. Bakichang Guyu. You know, the power of light is also terrifying. The speed of ultimate and the terrifying high temperature, although Kaido is rough and thick, but if you don't defend yourself, you will be slightly injured. So Kaido's movements were forced to stop, which finally gave Riester a chance to breathe. Master Vice Admiral, I almost have the strength for the final blow. I will leave the rest to you. Isn't it? A bad feeling arose in poor Solino's heart instantly. If he were to face this monster alone, 10 lives would not be enough for him to squander. Chapter 56 Lost one after another, the terrifying Kaido. But Rist now has no time to listen to Kizaru's complaints. His big Buddha form may be removed at any time, so he must use this last time to deliver his strongest blow to Kaido. I saw that Rist was once again elementalized and came to the back of Kaido. Two sky cloud swords appeared in his hand, and they directly crossed Kaido and slashed in the past. Two powerful shock waves directly acted on Kaido's body. In an instant, Kaido felt a tremendous pressure, and his entire body sank under the impact of this shock wave. Dense sword marks appeared on his body again, and blood was shed from his facial features under the blow. However, this attack did not last long. In the next second, Rist directly exited the form of the Great Buddha, and fell directly in front of Kaido just like that. And Kaido was panting because of Liester's hit. Just now, when he was in the range of the shock wave, Kaido felt a very depressed feeling, as if it was a breathless one. Fortunately, he persevered, and then he looked at Rist, who was lying in front of him. His eyes were full of cruelty, and this marine kid couldn't keep him. Not good. Seeing this scene, Kizaru secretly said, and then went directly to the area between Liester and Kaido. The cloud sword of the sky clumped Kaido's mace, and then kicked Liester away with one kick, away from this dangerous area. Is Laozi's opponent next to you, a yellow-skinned monkey? Hearing the tone of Kaido's haki, Pelusilino's heart groaned secretly. He didn't want to face this monster, but it wouldn't work if he didn't fight. If Riester had problems here, he would most likely become Marine Sinner. I don't want to fight you. If I can, I hope you can leave now. Porosalino said. Want Laozi to leave? Then give me that Marine kid and Laozi will let you go. Since you say that, you can't agree, then please prepare for being bombarded by light. After that, Pelusilino's momentum has changed. And all of this was in the sense of Riester. Although Riester had fallen on his back, he was not in a coma. After sensing the aura emanating from Pelusilino, Riester was a little bit eager to scold his mother. I didn't expect Pelusilino to have a hand when he fought just now. Advertisement. But Pelusilino in this state is really surprisingly reassuring. Light can also exude warmth. Although Pelusilino is usually a nonchalant gesture, Pelusilino still has the ability to advocate the overall situation in the face of real things. All Riester can do now is to regain his stamina, and if he can better fight with Pelusilino and Kaido. Are you finally serious, you yellow-skinned monkey? As one of the firmly established admiral in the future, Porosalino's strength is naturally not simple. The real combat power may not be as good as Kaido, but it is impossible for Kaido to defeat him. Afterwards, Kaido raised his mace and slashed at Pelusilino, and he also condensed the sky cloud sword, collided with Kaido's mace, and the head-on confrontation did not even fall in the slightest. Downwind. But this was only a stalemate for 3 seconds. As a person who mainly focuses on Devil Fruit's abilities, he can't compare to Kaido in terms of physical strength or endurance. He was directly knocked out by Kaido, then elementalized in the air, stabilized his figure, and flew into the air. Be careful, Kaido. Afterwards, I saw a dazzling golden light burst out of Pelusilino's body, and it was continuously scattered. Several golden lights directly surrounded Kaido, and every golden light seemed to have Pelusilino's figure. Is this the real strength of Pelusilino? Rist, who was lying on the ground, thought in surprise that when Pelusilino was on display now, it seemed to be stronger than the strength shown by the war in his memory. These afterimages can only be formed at a certain speed. False and true and false, these shadows are both true and false. I saw that countless Kizaru extended their index fingers to Kaido at the same time. Laser. Hundreds of rays of light directly attacked Kaido's body. Although Ba Kai Chong Guyu can be regarded as Sparkling Fruit's ultimate skill, it is mainly a large-scale attack, and each light bomb is not as powerful as a laser. Advertisement. And in this state of Kizaru, every laser can hit Kaido's body, which is much more accurate than the Basha Chong Guyu. Every time a laser hits Kaido, it will explode on his body. Even the most powerful body, under this uninterrupted bombardment, some places become a little black. Of course, Kaido did not stay in place to bomb Pelusilino, but constantly attacked every light and shadow. However, Pelusilino can reach any of his phantoms almost instantly, so even if Kaido has attacked dozens of times, he hasn't even touched Pelusilino's clothes. But the number of lasers has dropped a lot. This monster. Porosalino secretly said, and did not stop the attack on his hand. At this time, Pelusilino had prepared for the worst. If it didn't work, he could only take Rist out of here in the end. As for those Marines, they could only pray for their own blessings. Rist also noticed Pelusilino's state, lay down on the ground, and fell into deep self-blame. His fingers had been inserted into the ground, and the blood had flowed out of the fingers. I don't know. In the early stage, Pelusilino used his fruit ability to suppress Kaido, but now, the balance of victory has gradually tilted towards Kaido. Is this battle going to be lost? The toxin released by the fascinating little flower on the top of Rist's head has no effect on Kaido, because Kaido's recovery ability in the dragon state is too strong. At this time, there are already 2 phantoms of Pelusilino above Kaido's head. Next, you will die for Laozi. Kaido roared, and then immediately began to circle in place, and the huge tornado generated directly enveloped the 2 Kizaru. One of them flew out of the tornado, and the other welcome was blown away by the powerful tornado. Chapter 57 Zephyr arrives, Kaido flees. Rist, prepare to escape. At this time, Pelusilino came to Rist's side and said that Kaido's aura was already extremely terrifying at this time. He was really frustrated in this battle, so now he sees that these 2 are a little weak. People, Kaido is extremely excited, he can't wait to rub the yellow-skinned monkey on the ground. Really unwilling. Riester, who was lying on the ground, gritted his teeth and said. Unexpectedly, the two of them could not beat Kaido. In the end, they were beaten and fled by Kaido. If there were only two of them on this island, Riester might be now. I have chosen to escape long ago. But there are still civilians and the marine students he led out on this island, and he couldn't do that. At this time, Riester's heart was extremely entangled. If he did not escape, he might die here, but if he escaped, all the students he led would definitely die here. In front of Kaido angrily, they are completely at the mercy of others, and they can't even escape. It's really embarrassing, Riester, Pelusilino. At this time, a set of voices suddenly came out from a distance. Upon hearing this voice, the two of them immediately became relieved. Even Pelusilino, who hated hearing this sound the most before, felt at ease when he heard this sound. I saw a man with purple hair, sunglasses and a marine coat using moonwalk and hurried towards them. Ms. Zephyr, it's really time for you to come. Pelusilino breathed a sigh of relief. Well, I didn't expect that the old kid has grown to such a point now that even our marine elite can no longer arrest you. Zephyr looked at Kaido in front of him and said solemnly. He had met with Kaido several times, but Kaido was just a pirate trainee who had some excellent pirates, so they didn't pay much attention to the intern kid. Marine Admiral, Zephyr. The expression on Kaido's face has become more serious than ever. He has seen Zephyr several times before, and the strength that Zephyr once demonstrated has given him a great formation. Although Zephyr is now old, his current state is not very good. If he fights against Zephyr, he will definitely lose. Unexpectedly, even Marine Admiral and Zephyr are here. In that case, the yellow-skinned monkey and the marine kid lying next to you will spare your lives today. When we meet next time, you will die. Ida be set. After that, Kaido turned into a blue dragon and flew away. Advertisement. Zephyr didn't stop him. After he got the news, he rushed over to moonwalk all the way, and his physical exertion was huge. If you continue to fight with Kaido, although he may win, it will definitely be a miserable victory, and accidents are likely to happen in the middle, so this time Kaido will leave first. What do you look like lying on the ground? Get me up. Zephyr walked up to Riester and said solemnly. Sorry, Master, I humiliated you. Rist did not expect that after 2 years of training, his first battle from naval headquarters would be a big defeat. But Rist didn't get up, his body was really sore now, and even moving his fingers was extremely laborious. Hey, there is still a long way to go in the future. It is normal that you are not Kaido's opponent now. If you can beat Kaido now, where do you let our faces go? I'm sorry, Master. Riester doesn't know what he should say now. He knows that it is normal for him to not be able to beat Kaido, but he is unwilling. Hearing Riester's self-blaming tone, Zephyr sighed helplessly, and then slammed Riester on his back. Poor Salino, these students will be handed over to you, take them back to the warship, I will go and wait for you first. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. This battle also made him realize his lack of strength. He originally thought that the gap between himself and this new world pirate was half a caddy, but now it seems that the gap between them is still very large. His most powerful attack is not very effective for Kaido at all. So this time back to naval headquarters, he also plans to work hard for a while, and wait until he has enough strength to start fishing. After all, fishing without the strength has no guarantee for his own safety. Rist, what do you feel like doing? After arriving at the warship, Zephyr asked Rist. Not good, very bad, I didn't do anything. Do you really think so? Advertisement. Riester, who was lying on Zephyr's back, nodded heavily. But I feel that you have done a lot of things. Listen carefully, do you hear anything? Sound. At this time, Riester was very tired, it was hard to have any energy to listen to the outside voices, but since the master had already said so, Riester forced his energy to listen to the outside voices. Thank you, Marine. The sound of thanks came to Liester's ears, and I don't know why, Riester felt his heart warm. Then, there was a Nuo voice. Uncle Marine, where's that handsome Marine brother? Hearing this voice, Rist felt that the other party was not very old, he should be a 5 or 6-year-old child. Suddenly, Riester remembered the child who was held in the arms of a beautiful woman. If Riester had guessed correctly, the owner of this voice should be the little girl. If it weren't for you, even if they didn't lose their lives at the hands of the pirates, they would never survive Kaido's hands. If this assessment led the team by other instructors, then this place has now become a hell on earth. So they can survive now because the person leading the team is you, and it can only be you. Quote. Hearing Zephyr's words, Riester's regret finally disappeared. It turned out that he didn't do anything. He saved at least hundreds of lives. He should be asleep now. A student answered the little girl's words. Then how should I be able to see him in the future? When she said this, the little girl's tears rolled in her eyes, as if she couldn't wait to see her savior. Then you can join Marine in the future. If you join Marine, you will be able to meet that little brother. Well, first must join Marine. I saw that the tears in the little girl's eyes disappeared instantly, replaced by a firm look in her eyes. Seeing this look, the student's heart was a little moved. When he first decided to join Marine, he also had such a look, resolutely. Chapter 58. Give a famous sword, Feng Yin. Master Marine, please stay. Just as everyone was about to board and leave, a person suddenly stopped them. This person was the middle-aged man who had been rescued by Riester. Do you have anything else? Brawley asked suspiciously. I saw that the middle-aged man took out a knife and held it down in front of Blarley with both hands. This is. Seeing this knife, Eulalie asked suspiciously. Although he is not a swordsman, he can also feel the difference of this knife. It is definitely not an ordinary knife, at least better than their marine saber. To be hundreds of times stronger. This is the heirloom of our family. I hope you can personally hand this knife to my savior. Blarley understood in an instant. He hoped to give the knife to Rist. No, there are regulations in our marine that we can't collect people's things casually. I hope you will accept it. This is the only thing I can do for the savior. There was a hint of hesitation and entanglement on Blarley's expression. What happened? At this time, a strong voice rang in their ears. Blair looked back and found that Zephyr was already looking at him from the warship. Mr. Zephyr, this person wants to give the knife in his hand to Rist, but our marine policy is not to accept ordinary people's things. Hearing Blarley's explanation, Zephyr saw the knife in his eyes, and a little surprise flashed in his eyes. Then he noticed the man's sincere eyes. Well, I'll take this knife for Riester, and when he wakes up, I will give it to him personally. Thank you, Master Marine. On behalf of Big Brother, thank you. This is what Brawley said. No, this is what I should do. Advertisement. Afterwards, Eulalie took his saber and left here on the warship, and the villagers on the island never left, watching the warship drifting away. This should be the legendary treasure of Forces. Zephyr took the knife in his hand and looked at it carefully, then spoke. Ms. Zephyr, what is this knife? Hearing Zephyr say this, Blarley asked suspiciously. If I'm not mistaken, this knife should be the function of one of the 21 jobs of the Great Knife. It turned out to be a 21st level knife with a big sharp knife. It's really rare. At this time, Pelusolino's voice also rang. He is also a swordsman, so he still knows about various famous swords. If it is a famous sword of this level, it is really qualified to be called a treasure. Brawley said in agreement. A knife that is better than this one is the supreme knife. However, there are only 12 knives of this level, and they are unforgettable existences. The big knives that have appeared are all in the hands of those who have been famous for a long time. For example, Kong Yunchi, one of the supreme knives, is in the hands of the world's strongest man, Whitebeard. As for the big sharp knives, there are not a few of them in the world so far. They didn't expect one to be here, which really surprised them. But this knife is a perfect match with Riester. Feng Yin is famous for its sharpness. There seems to be a strong wind in the body of this knife, the owner of the sharpness of the wind. And Golden Lion's swordsmanship is the kind of sharp and fast swordsmanship. Anything can split it in half with a single knife, and the cut is quite smooth. Ms. Zephyr. At this moment, Pelusolino walked up to Zephyr and said. What's wrong? Zephyr said faintly. He had always looked at Pelusolino uncomfortably. During the Marine Academy, he relied on his devil fruit ability to fish in troubled waters. Even when Kuzan and Sakazuki were in the academy, they both studied physical skills seriously. Only Pelusolino, except for occasional swordsmanship, does not practice other physical skills at all. Maybe he is the only senior general who does not know Marine 6 styles. I hope Teacher Zephyr can guide me to practice for a while. Kazaru said respectfully. Advertisement. Oh, a hint of surprise flashed across Zephyr's face when Pelusolino said this. Is your brain resuscitated? It's just that this battle made me realize my shortcomings, so I want to improve my strength. Porosolino said seriously. Is Pelusolino strong? Very strong. His laser can shoot through even Whitebeard's body, if he only defends with armament hockey. But it didn't produce any obvious effect on Kaido. His attack fell on Kaido's body, just like a tickling. Therefore, his strength wants to go further, in addition to continuing to develop the fruit's ability, but also to strengthen his armament hockey. He was able to slowly develop the fruit ability by himself, and others could not give him specific help, but armament hockey could ask others for help, and the best candidate was Zephyr, the current Marine instructor and Marine Admiral. Known as the Black Arm, he has extremely high attainments in armament hockey. Well, although I don't like you very much, since you are my student, I will help you. Thank you, Teacher Zephyr. Facing this result, Pelusolino didn't have the slightest surprise, because he knew exactly what kind of person Zephyr was, with a knife mouth and a tofu heart. As long as he was sincere enough, Zephyr would definitely help him. After you go back, you can train with Riester. His hockey accomplishments are not below mine. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. When mentioning Riester, a strange color flashed across Pelusolino's face, and Riester's presence gave him a sense of crisis in his heart. His current strength is stronger than Riester, but his limits are limited. It is estimated that Riester will completely surpass him in a short time, and the gap between the two of them will become farther and farther. When he saw Riester for the first time, he knew that Riester's future would definitely surpass him, but he didn't expect this time to be so fast. The report of this time has now fallen into the ears of Marshal Marine Kong. Sora was very satisfied with the performance of the Marine students this time, but the Kaido that appeared in the end made him very different, and what surprised him most was the strength displayed by Riester. Unexpectedly, that kid is already so strong. After that kid has grown up thoroughly in 2 years, I can retire contentedly. But the kid named Kaido has grown to this point, even Pelusilino has no way to deal with him. Quote. Thinking of this, Sora had a headache. The kid he dismissed at the time did not expect that now he has become a threat to their existence. Chapter 59. When Riester woke up, he had already arrived at naval headquarters, lying in the infirmary of the headquarters, covered with bandages. He clearly had no skin trauma, and he didn't know what these doctors thought of. However, I still felt that his body was abnormally weak. The last stop made Riester exhausted physically and mentally. Although he used to hate the smell of the hospital, he now feels at ease here. Lying on the bed, Rist also clenched his fists secretly. Although he failed in this battle with Kaido, he had already vowed in his heart that next time, he must defeat Kaido. This is the shame of his life, so Kaido's defeat must be used to repay it. After removing the bandage on his body, Riester walked out of the infirmary. Boy, are you awake? At this time, a doctor saw Riester's movements and said to him. I really don't know how you did it, you let yourself off so badly. Some accidents happened. Riester opened his mouth and replied that these ordinary people at the bottom would never know any information about Riester. After all, it would be incredible if an 11-year-old boy was fighting against Kaido, the big pirate of New World. Except for the witnesses at the scene, as well as a small number of Marine executives, no one knows about Riester anymore. Although Marine also knew that they couldn't hide the news about Riester for long, people with absolute talent like this would always show up. But before Riester has fully grown up, he must not be put in danger. He is Marine's secret weapon, a secret weapon used to resist the world government, and this is the same idea of all Marine executives. If the people of the world government knew that Marine executives had such horrible thoughts, they would definitely find a way to replace this group of people and find a group of obedient dogs to replace them. By the way, Zephyr Admiral said when you wake up, let you go find him. I see. After that, Riester immediately expanded the scope of his observation hockey, and soon discovered that Riester was in the training ground of the Marine Academy, and there were 40 strangers beside him. Soon, Riester quickly came to Marine Academy. When the members of the Academy saw Riester, they all gave him respectful glances. Although they didn't know what exactly happened to the elite students led by Riester when they went out for the assessment, they all heard some secrets from some of the returning students. It was Riester who fought with the big pirates of New World, but they still didn't. Falling wind. Advertisement. Rist didn't pay attention to the eyes of these students, and quickly came to the position of the elite class, and found that Zephyr was giving the students of this elite class a word. From today, you are the new elite class members, and your future training will be in charge of me and Riester instructor. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. 40 students from the elite class said loudly and powerfully, with a full tone of voice, full of hope and expectation for the future. At this time, Zephyr also noticed Riester's arrival, and then said to these students. You go to warm up and exercise first, run 10,000 meters first, and practice for those who fall behind. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Although these students have also noticed Riester, because Teacher Zephyr is here, they don't dare to cheer loudly at all, and can only hide their excitement in their hearts. Now Riester can be said to be the idol of the entire Marine students, and the appeal of the Marine Academy may not even match Zephyr. You kid, finally woke up. Zephyr walked up to Riester and said with satisfaction. Well, Master, who are these people? They are members of the new elite class. After all, if a group of people graduate, a group of people will be on top again. This time you will be responsible for teaching 20 people. Hearing this, Rist's expression showed a hint of embarrassment. What's wrong? There is a problem. Master, I want to go to the front. I knew you would say something like this. Zephyr didn't feel the slightest surprise for Riester's words. Advertisement. But it is not the time yet. Although the front line needs your strong combat power, you are still needed here. The entire naval headquarters has no instructor with better teaching quality than yours. Even I already have some. Can't compare to you. If you leave now, Marine's future is worrying. Quote. Of course, this is just Zephyr's rhetoric in order to keep Riester. Although Riester is very important at Marine Academy, he hasn't reached the point where he can't do it if he leaves. Moreover, your current strength is not enough. You should know your own importance. Before you grow up, we will never expose you to the public's vision. They are not afraid of the powerful pirates. It's the people of the sinister world government. I understand, Master. Rist's clenched fist loosened, as if he had accepted his fate. In the final analysis, his own strength was not enough. If his strength could reach Zephyr's level, he would at least have the right to move around freely now. Rist did not regret joining Marine, nor did he resent Marine's restraint on him, because he knew this was a kind of protection from Marine. But Riester still had a trace of fear in his heart. He was afraid that in the future he would do something sorry for Marine, and would fail Marshal Sengoku Admiral and Master's expectations. So when Marine protects him like this, Riester actually feels a little frightened in his heart. Okay, don't be frustrated, quickly adjust your face, and then participate in the honoring ceremony of those students tomorrow. This should be the last time I have met with them, and the chance of meeting them again in the future should be very slim. Will they not serve at naval headquarters? Hearing this question, Zephyr shook his head. The headquarters does not lack this strength now. The weaker ones will go to the branch offices in the world, and the stronger ones will stay in the Grand Line. That's it. Riester's tone was a bit lost. These students are the people in the department who have the deepest relationship with him. Now they are leaving. Of course, Liester's heart is very reluctant. Okay, don't be depressed, it's not a goodbye to life and death. Although Zephyr said so, but in the chaos of today's era, is it true that life and death are parting? Who knows? Chapter 60. The ceremony is over, the rank is awarded. In the early morning of the next day, all the graduates had already gathered on the playground of the college. Since it was not a large-scale award ceremony, and there were no awards from important people, it was enough to just be in the square of the college. Elite students and ordinary students are all gathered together. At this time, here, they have no high or low, some are just strengths. Zephyr stood on the podium and gave an impassioned speech, while Lister was half a position behind Zephyr and listened silently. But what surprised Lister was that Marshal Sora was beside them. The arrival of Marshal Sora immediately agitated all the students present, because it could be said that it was the first time they met Marshal Marine, and it was inevitable that they would be excited. The next awarding ceremony was inherited by Zephyr, and powerful students like Rhodes and Bradley were directly the rank of captain. If they made some military merits, they might be major. As for the weaker ones, they are lieutenant, junior grade or ensign. Those in the ordinary class are sergeants or corporals, and none of these people are in naval headquarters. Next, I will invite Marshal Marine, Master Kong to speak for you, everyone is warmly welcome. When Sora walked to the front, thunderous applause broke out at the scene. I have to say that this chicken blood was really good, whether it was 3 minutes or not, at least at this moment, these students are all have the confidence to be a good Marine. The words of Marshal Sora were those, anyway. Rist heard a little drowsy, but when Rist thought that the empty words were about to end, his words instantly awakened Rist. Next, I will personally confer the rank of Colonel Marine on Riester, and concurrently serve as the Deputy Chief Instructor of the Marine Academy. All of Marshal Kong's words in front of Riester were in his left ear and out of his right ear, but these last words were deeply rooted in Riester's mind, and for a while, he was a little stunned. No, he didn't expect that he would have his own business during this awarding ceremony. Hey, what are you doing in a daze? Don't go in front of the old man, thank you Marshal. Zephyr slapped the unmoved Rist directly, slapped him directly, and then hurriedly arrived in front of Marshal Sora. Student Marine, Riester follows the order. Arrive. Rist stood in a very standard military posture, waiting for Marshal Kong's next instructions. Advertisement. In view of Riester's good grades and outstanding abilities during his stay at Marine Academy, he helped Zephyr Admiral several times to complete the teaching tasks of Marine Academy, and in the assessment of Marine students, he made military merits. Trevor Riester served as Colonel Naval Headquarters. At Marine College, he is the Vice President Instructor. Yes, Marshal, Rist said with a serious expression on his face. Here, he can't help but be rude. He didn't even think that his military rank would be as high as a colonel, but it was very likely that it had a lot to do with the strength he showed. The award ceremony ended soon. No one had any objection to Riester's high rank. He even felt that this rank was a bit low and was not worthy of Riester's current strength. But no way, who made Liester's age still young? At the moment when a cloak of justice that fits his height was draped on his body, Liester felt the responsibility of being a Marine for the first time, and the pressure he was under. Marine's future is up to you, Liester. Kong's heavy hand slapped on Riester's shoulder, and Riester immediately felt a heavy pressure. This pressure was not the weight of Kong's marshal's hand, but an invisible responsibility. I hope you can be the pillar of Marine's future. Yes, Marshal, Rist said in a firm tone that this was the first time in his history that he had such a big sense of identification with Marine, thinking that Marine was his home. He had always regarded Naval Headquarters as a place for work and study, both a work unit and a school, and Zephyr's home was an arranged dormitory. But when he put on the Marine Justice cloak, Riester's thoughts slowly changed silently. There is one more thing to hand to you. At this time, Sora said again, only to see Zephyr take out a knife and hand it to Liester. Advertisement. This knife is of the 21st skill level of the big sharp knife, and its name is Fungyan. Thank you Marshal, Liester immediately said excitedly. He has been lacking a knife that suits his strength, and he never expected that Naval Headquarters would directly reward him. Don't be anxious to thank me, this is not something I gave you, but the person who was saved by you entrusted us to hand it over to you. You should have given this knife to you when you woke up. But I think it's just right to put it on this occasion today. Is it them? The figures of those people flashed in Riester's mind. Although he couldn't know the specific appearance of those people, all the familiar aura reverberated in Riester's mind. At this time, his heart was full of emotions. Marine was not an effort, and there was no return. In fact, the return was still great. I hope you can use this knife well in the future. After all, the people who were saved by you have hope for you. Yes, Marshal. The award ceremony ended in a bland way. Those students who have become official Marines have now boarded the warships to their respective branches. Before leaving, they bid farewell to Liester and Zephyr. Almost everyone shed tears. As the saying goes, men do not flick when they have tears, but in the scene at the time, they couldn't help it, even Zephyr's eye sockets were a little moist. But life still has to be on the right track. These graduated Marines are not of much use to this era of great pirates. After all, there are not many Marines with such abilities in a year, but there are endless pirates with various abilities. This time Rist is the same as last time, choosing 20 students to form a new elite class, but this time his requirements are more stringent than the previous one, and I don't know whether it is to urge them or to urge himself. It's worth mentioning that Pelusolino's Vice Admiral can often be seen inside the Marine Academy. The purpose is to enhance his hockey, but in everyone's eyes, he still uses the fruit ability, just get beaten blindly.